Shellshock presents.
Ready?
Sharing with Shellshock Season 4.
New Age of Heroes.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I am your host, ShellshockPrime, and right now I am here with another episode. This is Live Service Games. Sorry, yeah, we're starting that now.
Oh,
sorry.
Hey.
So good to see you all. Good to see you, EpicMan, RedBeard, MattBigFat.
Hello. Oh, my man.
So originally, we had two other guests that were going to be a part of this show. We originally had the shiny one, but he could not make it today. And we originally had Cutie Caitlin, but she can't make it today either. So it's just going to be Epic, RedBeard, and Matt tonight.
Yes.
So,
all right.
So good to see you all. This is Live Service Games. This is going to be the episode where we talk about live service games in general. Like, we'll talk about the ones we like as well as the struggle of how difficult it is to support them, knowing that the lifespan can be very short. But we'll get to more on that later on. But before we get started on that, EpicMan, feel free to tell us what content you do.
All right. So yeah, this is the Epic Man speaking here, and mostly what I would do is for content-wise. Whenever I stream, it's just mostly variety of games like Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam games, mostly just those games. Just mostly I would go for Splatoon or Mario or Crash Bandicoot. Although those franchises I love and dearly because those got me into gaming a lot. And yeah, I just mostly do that, and I like hanging around with people and make friends and make memories.
Absolutely. What about you, RedBeard?
I stream, but I'm currently on hiatus for now. But I plan to get it back around mid to late 2015 or as beginning of 2016. Right now I stream like a bunch of Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam games, most variety from action adventure game, JRPGs, all that sort of stuff.
Yep. Matt?
Oh, me. Well, it's funny. I want to say hello. I'm MattBigFat, and I'm a React content creator. My React content has been doing really good lately, and I'm happy about that. I never thought I would really delve into the realm of React content so much, especially with some of the stigmas that come with it, and mainly that always nervoused me. But my audience seems to like it. I seem to like it too, and the numbers are there. I'm not a numbers person, obviously, but it's all working out. It reminds me of the line from the late great Avicii song "Wake Me Up." I was finding myself the entire time, and I didn't know I was lost. Go figure. But besides React content, funnily enough, I'm also a Nintendo, PlayStation, and PC streamer, and all different sorts of genre. JRPG being my favorite, but I'm still, after 7+ years, I'm still happy to make and create content.
Yep. Always. So let's get started with live service games. So the thing with live service games is that a lot of them have different variants of them. Like, for example, there's the free-to-play games as well as games that are basically online focused. Like, you pay for them, like with a certain flat fee just to get the game, but the main focus is online multiplayer, where you can be able to like participate in like matches depending on the type of game and the genre, or it could just be like a game where it's like an action game, like, and then like they have like new characters every single month or like within a certain window. That's basically live service games. There's a lot more out there. Like there's like, especially on the phone, PC, console, you can pretty much find them practically anywhere. So let's start off with you, EpicMan, on this one. What were some of the first live service games that you remember playing?
Uh, First live service games. I mean, you see, because the word live service games never pop up on my mind whenever I play multiplayer games because that's just pretty much sounds like what they would be. Yet the games were like online focus and multiplayer. It's
Hmm.
just it always vagues me. It always gives me a vague thought about how games that just would be multiplayer focus, yet they would put in some things like with updates and microtransactions and other stuff. And the first thought in my mind would be just, I guess, Call of Duty, because that was like a game where it is pretty much a multiplayer focus, yet it has campaign and another side mode that could be either Spec Ops co-op or zombies and whatever else they would think of that is not those two. I guess it would be that, but yet I'm not a multiplayer person myself back in the day, but yet I play those anyway because my cousin or my some of my other friends tend to play them a lot back in the day,
Yeah.
and I play with them, and they're fine. You know, the games are multiplayer wise, they're fine, but it's just mostly is the story and the other mode zombies like survival games I love the most than multiplayer. But yet I still play multiplayer here and there. I wouldn't say I would be a fanatic. I just mostly play just for the fun of it, don't care about ranks and stuff like that. But yet, no, like I wouldn't know if I would say these are live service games. But then there is also Overwatch, which I could probably say it is a live service game because the fact that this game doesn't have a campaign, yet they have lore and stories sprinkled into it through updates and talks with developers and what story cutscenes they made for people to get engaged with. It's a game that I guess I would say it is a live service game. I guess I would say be my sort of first fully. So it would be that. Yet there are other ones that I've seen that's been popping up afterwards because well, there's Fortnite being the biggest and most brightest of live service games, which people would despise back in the day, but then now is being beloved because of skins, music, cars, freaking game modes people have been making through the game creative service where they can just make their own games and worlds and whatnot that they just keep making pretty much like Roblox. And you could say Roblox now because Roblox wasn't a live service game back in the day. It was just a game where people just want to make their own worlds and share them around and just play with Lego looking characters. And now it
Yeah.
is a fully live service game because there is
Hmm.
microtransaction and it's multiplayer. But even then games like Fortnite and even Apex as well, Apex Legend, and so on and so forth. So many been bursting out, and people wanting to make the next Fortnite because Fortnite is pretty much the biggest live service game out there right now, and yet people wanted to copy that with like Call of Duty making their own battle royale with Warzone, and also with like other games that tried but failed, which we will get into it soon about failed attempts.
Yeah.
Like there was one time in Battlefield 5, they tried to make their own battle royale, but yet they just failed miserably because that didn't go out so well, like EA wanted to do. Even Ubisoft tried to do their own battle royale live service game with Hyperspace, where that game came out, and I know me and Silver wanted to play that, and we did play it, and it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But then it just dwindled and never cared for anyone in the long run because it just didn't feel as unique that we wanted to be. Yet people tried, the developers tried to make it as unique and differently than the others, but it just didn't have um, the staying power like Fortnite for it to become a long running game for it to be staying that people would like to play. So it failed that, but again, I'll talk about more of that later. But yet I will say Overwatch probably will be the first live service game personally because I did play that game a lot on the PS4 because I rented that game from GameFly of all places instead of buying it, and
Yeah.
then I would eventually buy it through digital. So that way I can just play it, have fun. Roadhog and May were my mains. They were a lot of fun back in the day. Those were my favorite moments when I play a game like this that is live service, and they did a pretty, I would say, mostly a good job for what it was before everything happened afterwards.
Yep.
But back then, it was a joy, in my opinion, to play Overwatch, especially with friends. Like even Maple, when I play with him and the others, it was so much fun. And I mean, I would play it again if I want to. But there's just so many other live service games out there that they just keep making, and it's just so much. So, But yeah, I would say, yeah, Overwatch is pretty much my first one.
Okay. Yeah, because I know like when Overwatch came out, it was a huge deal back when it came out like 9 years ago. All right, so what about you, Redbeard? What was your first live service game that you remember playing?
Does it it could be like free to play, or does it have to be like behind, or it could be anyone?
Anyone.
Okay. I have to think about it. There was a lot of the live service games I have played, both on mobile and on console, and I would have to pick. It would have to be a Call of Duty game. Probably Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one I had played.
Yeah.
And that was the only one I played. Because after that, it was crap.
Yep.
It's just moving on. I started knowing other games as well. I got into Warframe, Destiny 2, then Overwatch.
Yep.
Battleborn. Years later, before they axed it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Final Fantasy 14. And so many mobile games I have to tell.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to that end of the discussion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like there are a lot of really good live service games out there. Like Matt.
I'm up. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, to start out, I'll go through them like sort of one by one in a very precise manner. Well, to start off, if Epic's gonna and Red are gonna mention Call of Duty, I am a Halo player. It has a buy, and obviously it was a $50 game back in the Halo 1, and it online, and it was constant online updates and all that, especially on the original Xbox. But yeah, I'm a Halo player. I have over easily 1,000 hours in the entire series. Sort of petered off from the series, admittingly, with the later entries, but I still try and involve myself. Halo will always have a place in my heart. Love that series. To move on to actually like more like livey, servicey, livey games, the first one I remember actually really enjoying a lot, and I think I can't tell if it's long dead now or not. It's a game. It was a Korean. It's not an MMO, but it was a Korean battle arena game called Rakion Chaos Force. And I don't know how my friends discovered this in high school, because I played it back in 2005 and 2006, my freshman and sophomore year of high school. I don't know how my friends found out about this game. They told me about it, and I just played it by osmosis. It's a really cool, sort of like a rustic medieval sort of battle arena style game, and you just play versus matches, give or take. There's no open world or exploring, but you play versus matches, and the gameplay styles are very similar to Halo. There's deathmatch, there's capture the flag, or more like destroy the flag. Your flag is like a golem surrounded by shields, and you have to jump and use moves across the map to get to the flag or the barriers and cut them down, and then kill the golem. It's like kill the flag, and then there was Dominion, and that had a lot of Halo game modes basically. And you wouldn't play as a person with a gun. There was no character with a gun because it was medieval. So there was like a soldier class where you're a knight in helmet sword guy. There's a mage class where you're very similar to Vivi, very similar to the short black mage. They probably got inspiration from there, where you're just a small bouncing little mage and you have ice and like earth spells.
Yep.
And there was a thief character and other things. And you can summon, and any class can summon creatures too. So there was a progression system. I don't think there was in-game currency. This was back in like 2005. I think you just had to grind. I played it for at least over 100 hours throughout my freshman and sophomore year, but that was a very interesting game. I think there's a Steam version nowadays, and I think it's still running, but if you look at the reviews, they're mostly negative. I think the servers are ass, and/or just hacked, and/or this and that. So I think the games I in my consideration long gone, but that was the first game I really like got into. I was like, it was weirdly cool just playing Halo game modes with like medieval-esque characters, no one with a gun. It strangely worked very well. Mm-hmm. You should look up some old YouTube video about it if what I'm saying is very interesting to you. The next one I can really remember doesn't come till at least a decade later, and that would be Tales of Link, the first American released Tales game using the mobile game functionality or using a mobile game-esque sort of style. That game was really now here's the thing. Funnily enough, live service games and me actually don't gel together much. That's the first thing I'll admit. It's not them, it's more me. It's not like I lose interest per se. It's just that being a New Jerseyan, I don't have time to play on my phone because I'm always either driving to a location or just home, and I can just play like an actual console game, not to sell live service games short. But so I don't really gel with them much. But my short time with Tales of Link, to be fair, the Tales games and American popularity it's always mixing up in the air about how popular they'll be. It didn't really last super duper long, but I digress. Tales of Link was really cool though because it was very free to play friendly because of one really cool feature I've never seen a game ever bring back. So basically, there was a game that Tales of Link was a game where you roll 5-star units and 4-star and 3-star, and of course the 5 stars are really cool, and they're usually the main characters of said titles of the series represented. And a really cool mechanic was that every time you'd go into like a mission, like a live service mission where you bring your party and do like the little battle mechanic, you're allowed to recruit for free, no questions asked, one 5-star leader from your friend on your friends list, and you can bring them along with your party. I still have a picture that I showed RedBeard once of me being friends with someone who had a character I really wanted. I made friends with a guy on the first day the game came out who had a 5-star Jude Mathis, my favorite Tales character in the series.
Nice.
So I friended him. You couldn't communicate with him, by the way. You couldn't message him. You just had to friend them and they say yes or no. I was begging in my heart, please friend me. I want to use your 5-star Jude Mathis on every single mission I go on. And well, thankfully he did accept my friend request. So all the time I played the game, you're allowed to recruit one 5-star character onto your mission for free. And it was cool. It was a really cool like friend mechanic where you can use one of your friend's units on your team, no questions asked. And it was really fun and cool. I played that game for about a month or so before I again really gelled out of it. That's just me being me. And then I would later go on to play Fire Emblem Heroes for a handful of time, gelled out of it. And then Fortnite I tried out. It was okay. I didn't like build mode, but I got into it more when no build came out, especially out in Miku, but we're talking current timeline. But the number one online super duper multiplayer kind of only game I spent my most time with was Friday the 13th. Now, everyone who knows me, who met me back in 2018, knows I love that game. I have over 200 hours in that game. And in concept, that game lasted longer than a handful of games do nowadays. It lasted from June 2017 to sometime in 2019. But as you can tell, in 2019, the argument between the IP holder and Gun Media was affecting the game. They couldn't update it. Hackers eventually took over. It became a wasteland, unfortunately. It eventually closed down in 2024, but it was a long zombie dead ever since late 2019.
Yeah.
So it saddens me because I really like that asymmetrical killer game. I say this with no hesitation. That game was better than Dead by Daylight. And that's another game I should mention. I have 80 hours, and Dead by Daylight's okay. I don't mind it, but if there was something that was going to be the Dead by Daylight killer, I know that's a very bold sentence, but it would be Friday the 13th. I actually really like that game for multiple reasons. One, being an asymmetrical killer game, it was just fun to be Survivor. I mean, being Survivor in Dead by Daylight's also fun. I like that part. So it'd only be Counselor only, Survivor only. But Friday the 13th was cool in a lot of ways. One, it made you value your one slasher killer life in that game. In Dead by Daylight, there's a 3 like hook system where you can get hooked multiple times. Like, oh no, I got caught, I got hooked and this and that. In Friday the 13th, if you die, you die. You're back. Well, you can watch the game or go back to the lobby and search for another one. You only get one life. So it taught it. I think it was more fun because you had to fear for your one life. You could die in the first 5 seconds if you were careless and or not paying attention or anything, and that would be on you. Jason was just doing Jason things. What can you say? But anyway, the other fun thing about the game is that you can actually kill the killer back. In Dead by Daylight, you can't kill the killer back. You can only run from them and escape from them. And also, in Dead by Daylight, you only escape one single way the entire time. Only opening generators and opening a door. In Friday the 13th, you can kill Jason back. It was a long process. You had to do it with another person too. It was a 2-person process because a girl had to take the mother's sweater, and Tommy, the super duper Super Saiyan counselor, had to do the finishing strike on Jason. It was a really cool concept. I have video clips about it. Anyway, killing Jason back was really cool. And you can escape in other ways. You can call the cops and wait 5 minutes, and the game would auto end with a victory screen on your side, and live. And you can escape by boat. You can escape by car. You can last an entire 20-minute time limit. If Jason doesn't kill you in 20 minutes, which I also have clips of, the game will just auto end with a victory in your favor. There were so many fun ways to win. Also, the community on the bright side, the community was nice too. So not to ramble on too long, this was the most fun asymmetrical killer game I played, and And I really wish it lasted longer, and I really wish the IP holder wasn't like super duper. Well, I really wish the IP holder for Jason wasn't like super duper dickish and this and that. I really wish what didn't happen to it happened to it. I digress.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. I would eventually go on to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I can get into that a little later about what happened to that game. But I would eventually go on to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre by the same people, and I still accrued 60+ hours in that game. But that game would be also short lived. But I'll go into that a little later. But there we go.
All right. Yeah, I know how much you love Friday the 13th.
Yep, we met when I was first playing it. Yep, good times.
Exactly. So my first live service game that I remember playing, like I did play some Halo. I've never played, like I could tell you this right now. I have never played a single Call of Duty game in my life, and I never will. But I will say this though. The closest thing to Call of Duty I've ever played was there was a GoldenEye game that was on the Wii that they later ported to the 360 and PS3. It was basically Call of Duty with a James Bond skin. That's basically what it was. That's I
remember that one.
So that's the closest
You're
thing.
not wrong.
That's the closest thing to Call of Duty I've ever played. And even then, I don't really count that as much of a live service as I do with something like Team Fortress 2. So that's my answer. Team Fortress 2. I've played that a lot on PC back in the day, and even like later on when they changed the model so that it went free to play. But if you bought the game at any point before it went free to play, you got some free content like hats and stuff. Which, funny enough, I actually bought it in late 2009 for $3, which at the time I thought was a steal. And the fact that I got that and then it went free to play, I think it was either 2010 or 2011, and I would play it. I would always either be the heavy or the scout. I've dabbled with other characters, but none of them mesh well for me. Like the scout, I liked it mainly because of the speed, and the heavy, but the heavy was always my go-to. I forgot how many hours I've spent on playing free Team Fortress 2. The funny thing is I actually made my first Steam account for the fact that I could get Team Fortress 2 for $3. And that Steam account now belongs to my brother, whereas like I have my own account. And it got to the point now where it's like now I have so many hours on Steam overall. But yeah, Team Fortress 2 was my first live service game that I remember playing. I had a lot of fun with it. And I have since played so many other games, which I'm going to get into a little later. But yeah, that's what all began for me. Team Fortress 2. All right, so now let's talk about the next thing. What are your favorite live service games? And RedBeard, we're going to start with you. Your favorite live service games.
Including the dead ones as well, or
Including the dead ones, yes.
oh, okay, this be easy. My favorite live service, I would have to say Warframe. Fantasy Record Keeper, which is a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
Mobius Final Fantasy and mobile game as well. I would say Tales of the Rays, because that was my favorite one, even though they shut it off in the global, and I went back to the Japan server to start whipping ass again.
Yep.
It was over, but it didn't last on global, so that was fun. Still Zone Zero is still one of my favorites.
Yep. I know how much you love that one.
I'm trying to say, sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
I'll try. Like there's two games I try to choose between. Final Fantasy 14 is one. I'm gonna have to pick. No, I can't say. There was ass games. Let's try to think some other mobile games that I have played. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's about it. I was about to say Pokemon Go, but that kind of died out quickly so bad.
Yeah.
Like I was into it until like 2020 hit and COVID hit and just burnout was hitting me so bad. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Pokemon Go just isn't really the same anymore. Like the best time to have gotten into that game was when it was new, was 2016. Like I felt like just the vibe of when everybody was just getting along playing that game. That was kind of like the last time that the majority of the people on this planet actually really got along.
Yep. And then DVP came out
True.
and it was just flying.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Matt, what about you?
So I delved very deep into it. I guess ultimately my favorite live service game would be Friday the 13th. I'm glad I went over all the mechanics earlier. That's cool. I can save a little breath on that because I can just move on to the two others. Yeah, Friday the 13th. I don't regret a single of my 212 hours in it. Great game. I'll always live on forever in my memories. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Isn't my second place pick? It's up there. It equal top 5. That game unfortunately died out very fast. That was due to the fact that I'll make the story very short. When the game launched in August of 2023, it launched with crossplay immediately, and it was great. That crossplay lasted for 15 days, and they had to undo crossplay for a whole month to stop some hackers. Now, this story is a little weirdly botched in a way. I didn't encounter any cheaters and/or hackers, and a handful of the other community members didn't either. But the thing that really death knelled this game was that Gun Media did not announce that they were ending crossplay temporarily for a month. It just happened one day. They announced it like the day of, and like, hey, we have to stop crossplay. They didn't even tell us how long. We thought it was maybe only gonna be a day and or two tops, but they didn't. They canceled crossplay eventually for a whole month. But they canceled crossplay. Said they're working on hackers and cheaters. We're like, all right, we don't really see any hackers or cheaters per se. Some people said they didn't counter some, but we're like, okay, you do that, and then but be very clear with us when crossplay's coming back. And they weren't very clear. It eventually would come back a month later, but the community was so rowdy and toxic about it, which it's there's no good side here. Gun Media played their PR wrong, but of course, asymmetrical multiplayer games have a toxic fan base to begin with, more than any Nintendo or PlayStation property. I promise you. But it was just if I was Gun Media, I would have played the PR better or just not canceled crossplay. There's some point where even if you're doing the right thing to stop cheaters and hackers, I get it. It just canceling crossplay with that was just the most boneheaded PR move ever. It's like, just don't do it. Just stop. You're going to piss everyone off. I mean, I know you're doing it for a good reason, but it's like, oy. And of course, with how boneheaded people are nowadays on both sides, the game, the people would constantly berate the developers and this and that, and it was just a toxic mess. I'm like, oh, okay. And the game's still technically alive now. It's sort of fine. I hear there's a long lobby waiting room time due to the extremely dwindled player base. I still got 60 plus hours of the game, so I still got. It was a $40 game, so I technically got like 75 cents per hour. So I'm not complaining, but it's just like, damn, man. Some critical thinking and good PR goes a long way. Never forget that as a business person, a company, or anything. I tell this as someone who's rising up in my Five Guys business. Good PR goes such a long way. I can't stress this enough. Other companies sort of lack at it too. I can nibble at Nintendo's case a little, but that's another story. I guess my second place pick at the moment for live service games is actually not a MiHoYo game. I love MiHoYo games. I love the characters and I love learning about their world just through osmosis of other people. But the one I actually delve into, I haven't really done a lot of the stories so far because I'm waiting for the Steam release and so I can make some YouTube content about it. My second place pick is actually Infinity Nikki. Now, I couldn't 100% tell you why I got into this game. I think I was able to catch the game at release. I didn't catch Genshin Impact at release. I mean, I could have caught ZZZ at release, but I digress. I caught the game right at release, so I didn't feel behind. There was no FOMO. And it's just that the game itself is a low-stakes free-to-play game. It's actually very free-to-play friendly. The dailies are very easy to do in the game. I can hop on and do dailies in 7 minutes flat. you only play as one character. There's no rolling for characters because you literally just play as the anime girl and her funny talking cat the entire time. The whole concept of the game is that there are tons of really neat outfits. So if you like dress up, funnily enough, which admittedly dressing up an anime girl, cool. I like anime girls. Dressing her up is like pretty actually fun and poggers. The gameplay itself is actually a little open world sprawler. It's actually a little mix of Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Now, I learned this fun fact through a friend. Apparently, there's an ex Breath of the Wild developer on the Infinity Nikki team, which makes sense because there are literally shrines in the game. Like you enter a little blocky door, and it brings you to this gray and pink block dimension, not blue and gray or off green and gray like Tears of the Kingdom. It brings you to a pink and gray blocky dimension, and you solve a puzzle for the one single little collectible. Boy, does that sound familiar, which makes sense because of Breath of the Wild dev worked on it. So anyway, the whole thing you collect in Infinity Nikki is called Whim Stars. They're essentially moons from Odyssey. There are hundreds of them, over at least 500 in the game so far, I believe. They're still updating. It's live service. There's over 500 in the game so far, and you collect them like Odyssey moons. There's a little small here, there's a little small task here. It goes ba-da-bump-a-dum-bump. It doesn't actually do that, but does play a little jingle. But it's literally Odyssey moons, and they're literally Breath of the Wild shrines in there. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I'm actually gelling with this game. I have over at least like 30 hours in the game so far. I haven't done much of the story. The story's pretty interesting. It's an isekai. She gets whisked away to this world where dressing up in costumes equal power level. Funnily enough, anime reason. Yeah. But the first arc of the story is solving a case of comas, which is a very interesting topic. I haven't fully delved into the story yet. But I will in a YouTube video and this and that. But I'm interested to learn where the story goes. I'll do it when the Steam release comes out, which is cross progression, of course. But yeah, Infinity Nikki was actually a really cool live service game I caught upon release, and I still log on and do my dailies. I'm actually not tired of the dailies. That's how free to play friendly it is.
Oh yeah,
and the game is beautiful too. I'm not again, graphics go a long way, and they do. And I'm not the graphics aren't everything, but the game just looks really fucking good.
Yeah, I remember when I first seen that in one of the PlayStation State of Play presentations, and I thought it looked really cool because I remember the music sounded a lot like Super Mario Odyssey music. And then
yeah.
And then it's like I had no idea it was like from like someone who used to work for Nintendo, and then they left and they joined a different studio. I don't know if it's their studio or if they joined the studio, but
I think they're just a team member, and they definitely had an influence on the shrines in the game. I can tell you that much. It's so shrine coded. Yeah. But yes, that Together Till Infinity, the main theme is definitely Jump Up Superstar coded. Yes, there's a lot of correlation between these two Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild games and Infinity Nikki. It's literally an offshoot love child between them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Anyway, that catches me up to speed on my live server, so I pass it off to the blue guy.
Yep, EpicMan, it's your turn.
Oh.
I thought you were the blue guy.
Well, I am, but you're also another one. I'm looking down because you're right below me on my camera.
But I'm above you on Pete's stream.
Yep.
So I'm the dominant figure.
Well,
oh, Dios mío.
Seriously. Yeah. But okay, for my favorite, okay, I guess I got a few I can name off from. Well, I guess I would say Fortnite probably, which is surprisingly, considering that with no build being a thing and how they making the content and the recent seasons been going have been getting me into it so far, and I'm surprised it really got me this far into playing Fortnite ever since I stopped, or I'm not stopped, ever since that I was not into it from the very beginning because I wasn't really sure about it, yet they somehow got me. They got me back. But that would be one of my favorites. I would also say Overwatch, considering how much I pour so many hours being as Roadhog, as May, as a bunch of characters that I've always loved to try out whenever they bring out the new heroes. And then there's also okay, well, I'm surprised we haven't talked about this yet, but despite of all the circumstances that this game has been going through, and we used to play so much of it, all of us in the bonfire when we played, and that is Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Fall Guys was such a surprise to me that this game was something like a battle royale, but it's a platformer, and inspired by one of the Japanese game shows.
Takeshi's Castle.
That. that was the inspiration, and they made it so that the people are jelly beans in the costumes, and they always fumble every time they dive. They get hit by something, and they just try to get along to go to the finish line to be the number one winner of the crown. And that was the best thing about the game was we want to win the crown, and we keep the crowns and we use them as currency to buy costumes that they always give out in the store. It was not with microtransactions at the start, because the game was paid at first,
Yeah, $20.
and then it was $20, but yet it was free on PlayStation, and
Yeah.
that helped the game to become one of the best battle royale games on from any live service games at the moment. And it was amazing because they got so many people to talk about it with how the marketing was, where people beg to have their brands, their costumes, or whatever of their YouTube channel they want to have to become the bean person. Like, people were thriving with like, they were really crazy about Fall Guys at the time, and it was just huge. People were loving it. They wanted to be part of it, and yeah, it was super super cool. And we were playing it so much that we would just want to keep playing it every week or so, that I wanted to get more crowns to save up and get these costumes, like with Portal characters, Team Fortress 2 characters. They even have freaking Hatsune Miku, Nier. Like, there are a bunch of collabs that I would never thought to see.
They even had Sonic the Hedgehog.
They did.
Yes, and they made a stage dedicated to Sonic the Hedgehog.
They did.
And it was fun. It was really good. Like, I mean, it was so much fun that I just wish they would have done more of these stages that are dedicated for collabs, not just Sonic. And yeah, like, and they make new seasons with different themes, like with the medieval times, the snow. My favorite being the retro, the retro. It was just mostly as just a retro theme type of season, and that probably will be my favorite season of all time. Like with
Yes.
Hoverboard Heroes.
Yep.
What's it called?
soundtrack itself was really good during that season.
Oh yeah, no, even the soundtracks, like, they have a abundance of amazing soundtracks, even remixes of the lobby theme for each season. Like, there's just so many things about this game that I love so much, and I could not even stop playing it when that was going on. But even then, until then, what happened with, they got bought out by Epic Games when they wanted to have the piece of the pie of their success.
Yep.
And make it free to play, changing everything with the currency system, and now with how kudos wouldn't be the main currency, so they had to use Showbucks to being the main currency, which you had to pay with real money. And they also introduced Battle Pass, because why the fuck not? Battle Pass is a thing. Don't forget Battle Pass, guys. That's a thing. Every Battle Royale or live service games, that needs to be a thing if you guys want to succeed in that type of genre.
Of course.
It just
Yep.
it dwindles my heart about how it changed so much that it made most of us not wanting to play afterward, because how they changed the currency system. And I know Matt was hit the hardest.
Guilty as charged. Yeah.
Because he was the king of getting these crowns, and he counted all of his wins at the time, where he knows where he was going.
I can vouch for that too.
To quickly springboard off of Epicman's idea, we can't understate enough how awful the currency change was when Epic bought the game. The crowns were now useless. The little gold thing you get at the end of all your hard work was now useless because you can't buy anything with it. It was just for show at that point. Like Epic said, when the game first came out, you could buy costumes with the in-game crowns you win. Yep. But ever since they went free to play and had to change, it was a death knell of the game. It got kneecapped.
Yep.
Yeah, because
and we broke up.
And Matt broke up with his girlfriend.
I broke up.
Not a real girlfriend, but the game has a girlfriend.
Well, yeah.
Just imagine like that. Oh my god. But the thing is, like, because the game was so unique that it didn't need to be free to play. The game was fine as it was for it to be $20, and just having crowns as currency was, a suitable thing. But I can understand some of the arguments with people saying how where there's like, man, we could not get crowns. I could never win a match, you know, like because everyone always pushed me around and they could never get me to win. Like I can understand that, but they at least tried to go around that with getting these crown shards at the time, where it could be a way of getting crowns instead of just relying on winning first place, which you know that's a fine enough change. Look, 'cause if they would have implemented some changes more and more to people for people to you know have a fair chance of winning, then I can understand that people wanted something different for Fall Guys to be even more of a success. But to go with having free to play and microtransactions and just making the crowns useless, really it just really dwindles the identity of Fall Guys because it was all about just winning that crown and getting that crown and feeling this is meaningful. You know,
Yeah.
it was just so meaningless now because you can't do anything with it. It is now just a paper now. It's like imagine this is a paper and it's just a picture of a crown and what do you do with it? Nothing. Like freaking Dipper
Yeah, I was gonna say this is worthless.
This is
It's
worthless.
worthless.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it is all about, where it's worthless and you can't do anything with it now. Not even with crown shards, it's just basically nothing. So really, it sucks to see this game falls from grace. But yet, even though the game is still available now and it's still going on, and yet I still play it from time to time. I mean, Maple from time to time wants to play it with us, and I always vouch in because I love the game still, no matter what. I mean, the gameplay still plays fine, and you know it's still there, but it's just the way how feeling of winning and getting the stuff just doesn't feel the same as it used to be before. It is just you have to buy showbucks, get into the fame pass or whatever, battle pass, whatever they call it, and just save up these showbucks to get costumes, and then just keep playing for just just like any other live service games out there. And
Yeah.
it really sucks to see, you know, because Fall Guys was and it is still for me one of my favorites. I would say that I play a lot, even now, from time to time. I don't play it as much as I used to, but even then, I still play it from time to time because it is still one of my favorites, and I love all the costumes I got from it. Like, I love my Hatsune Miku costume, my Tubi costume, uh, Kizuna Ai costume. Like, there's just so many costumes. Sonic costumes. They got the Among Us costume, which is really cool.
Yep.
Godzilla, Cuphead, Sonic, like I said, it's Knuckles, Eggman, Tails. Just a vast variety of costumes that you would not believe they got in. And it sucks to see that it just dwindled out like that. So, yeah. So, but if I were to say another game I would like to say is that Zenless Zone Zero is right now probably my favorite of a bunch of the live service games. Like it is a gacha game, sure, yet the story, the characters, the settings, and the music, gameplay, everything about it is so amazing. Like they keep giving us updates via with these showcases of the program, live streams, well, a video recording on YouTube about what's going on with the updates, what's the story going to be about next time, and just giving us characters that we're going to be looking forward to, especially for their backstory, agent story, or special events going in with whatever characters coming in for Zone Zero. And I love about it because I just love everything, like I mentioned, with story characters and gameplay and whatnot. You know, it is amazing, and I will never stop playing it. And I always love looking into the lore, seeing how the world building becomes later on because it keeps growing and growing with new characters, and we get to see how their backstory fleshed out with other characters where it just it just never it never ceased to amaze me for how much they could build up from with um with how much story they can build up since the beginning, and I just love it. Just like with Splatoon, which I wouldn't say it's a live service game, but multiplayer wise, it is still like they're giving us updates and whatnot back
Yep.
in the day with 3 and 2 and 1. But even then, the story in Splatoon and lore always fascinates me because I just love looking into how much they love to build up their lore and the characters with Sunken Scrolls and with Splatfest and just the DLCs they give us. They delivered on how much the story makes it so amazing. And Zenless Zone Zero is no different, really. Yet they keep giving us more and more and more. Yeah, maybe I won't get these characters from a gacha poll, or maybe I will, but I will still love playing the stories because they are keen on giving us what they could do with just the updates because they were doing pretty good for the most time for like how things going around with delivering and being transparent with everything about going on. But yet, there's going to be flaws. There's always going to be something going on behind the scenes. But yet, the game for me still is wild and amazing to me to play, and I'll never stop playing it.
Okay.
So, yeah, those are my favorites, I would say.
All right. So my favorites, like I enjoyed my time with Fall Guys, and one of the things that I liked is that I kind of wish that we were able to get somebody to cosplay as the hot dog suit, because I know Matt will cosplay as the 7-Eleven style like Slurpee.
Oh yeah,
and I would cosplay as the fries, but we could never get somebody to be the hot dog.
This is just Aqua Teen Hunger Force with extra steps at this point.
Yes,
exactly.
That's pretty much who we are. But if Silver were here, then he would pick the game I'm about to pick right now that I absolutely had a blast with, even though the live service version of it is not a thing anymore. Knockout City was a lot of fun. Being able to go to like these big areas, playing dodgeball with people in teams.
Agreed.
It was a lot of fun, especially if you're playing with the people who not only know what they're doing, but the people who like are your friends, and like we all like play off of each other in terms of like the teams. We do really well. It's a lot of fun. I miss that game. Like, you could still technically play it on PC if you have the dedicated servers, but on console, because they shut that down like 2 years ago. Because I remember back in 2021, it was first revealed in a Nintendo Direct, and at first I didn't know what to make of it, but what sold me on it was the beta, because they had like there was the private beta, which I believe was on PC only, and then there was a public one. There were two public ones. There was one that was PC only, and then there was also one that was a console one with PC, because it was cross-platform multiplayer. And I don't think we've ever had somebody who had Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC at the same time, but that would have been cool to have done that. To get the whole cross-platform multiplayer experience. But that game was fun, because originally EA published it, but then they pretty much gave the whole rights to Valon Studios. But unfortunately, Valon Studios could not really keep up with sustaining the server, so they just had to shut it down. It's a shame, but I really did enjoy Knockout City. That was fun.
Yeah.
Another one that I've enjoyed that is still going strong for 6 years, Tetris 99. That was fun. I've spent so many hours playing Tetris 99 since that was first announced in Nintendo Direct, because it's basically like a game that you get for free once you have a Nintendo Switch Online, a subscription, being able to play against 98 other players to see if you could become the Tetris Maximus. I love that so much. Spent a lot of time trying to compete, and because I was talking about that last week in the Tetris episode. But the one thing I will say is that if there's anything that I say that is my personal kryptonite, when it comes to Tetris, being able to do those T-spin combos. I could never pull it off, no matter how hard I try, but I really got to practice on that. Still going strong. Because there were two live service games from Nintendo that do not exist anymore. Those being Super Mario Bros. 35 and Pac-Man 99. Although Pac-Man 99 was more of a Bandai Namco thing. Super Mario Bros. 35, like, that was an anniversary thing. It only lasted for 6 months. Then that got shut down, which I think is, like, for one of the dumbest reasons, because it's an anniversary thing. But for Pac-Man 99, that got shut down because of lack of interest, because it started off really hot. Like, a lot of people were into it at first. The problem is, Pac-Man 99 is really hard to win. Like, it's hard to win for the simple fact that there's always going to be, like, they have this system in which, like, you have, like, these, like, white ghosts that slow you down. And then they have the red ghosts that, or the red Pac-Man that...
Yeah, the red Pac-Man will try to like stop you or like slow you down, but then
No,
there's gonna be like little ghosts of Pac-Mans that will be going around that will try to like stop you from going forward.
No, they
try to like slow you down.
No, the red ones kill you. The white ones are the ones that slow you down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the red ones will kill you, but the white ones are the ones that actually slow you down.
Yeah. Pac-Man 99 was fun, but unfortunately that got shut down really fast. But another one that basically, another one that I thought that was great, that honestly got shut down, that did not, unfortunately, get the time of day. In my personal opinion, I really enjoyed Rumbleverse. There was a lot of potential with that game. I loved it. I enjoyed Rumbleverse. It was basically Fortnite, but instead of shooting, you basically are a brawler. You do wrestling moves, you do fighting game style moves. I thought it had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it just basically just died out. It lasted for 6 months, and then it died. And that was published by Epic Games. Fuck Epic Games for that shit. But unfortunately, it's not going to come back anytime soon. The funny thing is that Iron Galaxy kind of owns it. Or at least they might. Oh, no, they don't own it. Epic Games does, but they were the ones that developed it.
Yeah, they developed
There we
it.
go.
Yeah, so, but yeah, Epic Games basically likes to ruin everything. Like, they ruined Fall Guys, and then Rumbleverse didn't get a chance. And, while not my favorite, but I enjoyed Rocket League. I'm not great at it, but Rocket League was great. But F-Zero 99, yes. I love F-Zero 99, spent some time with it, and it's still, not as many players as Tetris 99, but there's still a pretty solid amount of players that are dedicated enough. The game's been out for over a year and a half now. And it's fun. But it's different considering the fact that you have all the racers in the same race, and they collide with each other, as opposed to just seeing all those different screens, like everyone's together. And they're still supporting it with different updates. So you get different tracks. We even got some tracks from the Japanese only Satellaview games, never before seen. And also we got these glitch tracks where they remix everything. And you could pretty much just play online whenever you want on that game. It's fun. I've had maybe 1 or 2 wins about it. And yeah, and as it was mentioned in the chat, I have mentioned Knockout City, and Knockout City is fantastic. But
Yes, we are. Just to quickly greet chat. Yes, we're discussing live service games and other online kind of only games, give or take.
Exactly.
But yes, pleasure.
Absolutely.
We were Knockout City players back in the day.
Yeah, I love Knockout City. I will mention one more game before we move on to the next topic. So. I just mentioned F-Zero 99, but the one more game that I do want to mention in regards to online, and this one unfortunately also doesn't exist, and this one is from Konami. This one had some potential, and it was a Bomberman on Super Bomberman R online. I love Bomberman. Bomberman, like you could be able to just play with your friends because that's the point of it, playing Bomberman multiplayer. And with the online play, you have like these different rooms. You could just travel from one to another, being able to like send bombs to opponents or drop bombs, and you have like a lot of players that you could play against. Unfortunately, that got shut down months. I believe it was months after it released. So Konami did not give it a chance. And it turns out the reason they did this is because of the fact that they had an online multiplayer in Super Bomberman R2, and that game did not sell that well. So, those are my games. The next topic is how difficult is it to support a new live service game, knowing that a game could be shut down at any given time? Because the problem is, these live service games, it's a case of here today, gone tomorrow, and Matt, we're going to start with you on this one.
Okay. I'm luckily enough that I choose my again, the answer to your question is just choose your battles very, very wisely. Now, that's not easy to do for everyone. I'm not even bragging or anything, but yeah, just choose your battles very wisely. I've purposely not gotten into certain games because I knew my interest wouldn't last or the game wouldn't last itself. Not that I'm being pious about it or anything. Long story short, I'm glad I got all the hours I got out of Friday the 13th before the game truly went up the river. I'm really glad I did. The reason why I got into Texas Chainsaw right away is because I'm like, okay, history could repeat itself, which it kind of did. History could repeat itself. Let me get all the hours I can out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I wasn't forcing myself. I was having fun. I never turn on a game I don't have fun with. That's my ultimate inner spirit bottom line. That's why I don't turn on Fall Guys anymore. She and I broke up. I don't have fun playing with her anymore. So even when Maple's asked, Matt, why don't you turn on Fall Guys? I'm like, Maple, we're broken up. I don't want to spend time with her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But if I don't like something, I don't play. I'm like Ego from fucking Ratatouille. If I don't like it, I don't swallow. If I don't like the game, I don't turn on the play button.
But
anyway, yes.
you.
I know, it's okay. It's okay. But anyway, yes, I'm glad I got all the hours I got at Texas Chainsaw. And again, how to know when to support an online or live service game. I caught Infinity Nikki right at the start. And I don't know if they're fudging our numbers, but apparently they have like 11 bajillion players. I know I'm using like a funny actual amount, but they apparently have a lot of players. I'm like, okay, if you say so. I meant to say I didn't even spend any money, or okay, that's not true. I spent 99 cents. I spent 99 cents on all my time on Infinity Nikki so far. I can't stress enough how interestingly friendly that free-to-play game is. I have like a really nice costume for her I can wear in the overworld. The whole gameplay loop of Infinity Nikki is that there's like, and so they're almost like cutscene battles in a way, fucking like almost like a Sur's Wrath. There's cutscene battles where you meet a character. They say, "Show me the best," because all the outfits you collect in that game are different, like styles, like cool, royal, elegant, sexy. There's a whole bunch of different costume descriptors, and they're like, "Show me your best cool outfit. You must beat this power level on screen in order to beat me." So your actual outfits, each individual piece for hands, head, chest, feet, legs, body, torso, etc. They all have different. The one you have to choose all the. Hypothetically, if you're fighting a cool guy, you have to choose all the cool outfits. You have to make sure they're powerful enough, and the actual numbers you can tell before you start the battle that your numbers will beat his, and you have to make sure that your power level numbers beat them. And then you engage in like a little cutscene battle where Nikki does like a little fashion show. It's very cute and funny, but anyway, that's the gameplay loop. So basically, it's that. Where was I going with this line reasoning again? Anyway, that's and it's just fun. That's all. I caught Infinity Nikki, like I said, when it first came out, and you even free to play. And I spent 99 cents on one costume I really liked. But free to play, you get a whole bunch of costumes. They're still leveling up costumes in the overworld and using the level up mechanic. And it's not a money whale sort of game. It's just a. Again, I'm going to get more into the gameplay. Maybe I'll actually reach some walls where the actual like costume power levels are too high to beat on the overworld people. But besides that, it's just fun.
Yep. No.
But yeah, it's basically just choose your battles wisely and see if you can really support him. Like I don't mean to interrupt you. I'll end this off on one last thing. The reason why Mike and I didn't get into Killer Clowns from Outer Space is because we saw the game like launch with like 600 or 1,000 player base, and that was going to dwindle off in a few weeks, which it did. You can't
Yeah.
really find a matching Killer Clowns anymore. I never wish that upon a game, but numbers are numbers and they don't lie, unfortunately. So that's why Mike and I didn't really get into Killer Clowns. We're like, hey, it launches a very paltry audience. It's only supported by an online play. It's going to go up the river extremely fast, even faster than Texas Chainsaw, which it kind of did. I never wish that on a game, but real life is real life. I don't wish that, but it happens.
Oh yeah. Um. So, Epic Man, what about you?
For me, the way how I would say about how to make the live service game more bearable and trying to stay alive. I mean, it really is a tough thing to do because really, what it's like the same thing where you want to make a video game where you don't know what you want to make and what do people even like these days with how what kind of trends that people get into with how games are. But the thing is that you need to have a good communicative response and PR for to know what people want for their games to be and how would it dwell where for everyone to enjoy so that way it doesn't implode onto each other's faces where they don't want a gun to be overpowered or the map designs should have some changes here and there or they need to um they need to chill out with some of the effects because they might hurt people's eyes
Yeah.
or something. But like things where you have to have a good communicative response for people with your fans is a good way to go for because otherwise you're gonna have a disaster for or a game will um a game will go out of hand and then nobody knows what to do because nobody has any idea what people want and what they want for a game to get better. Like I would have to go ahead and say that even with now with Call of Duty with Black Ops 6 and even Warzone, the because right now the news with Warzone is that they're going back with the same map from the very beginning that they began with Verdansk,
Yeah.
the first of Warzone. Um, because they are trying to find a way how to get back to players because they haven't been getting a good track record with the players staying on for as long as they wanted to. So they want to see if they could get more people to play again by getting what people liked and want um, from the first map. And yet, it it is a good way to go for because you are, I guess, you are listening to the people but you also gotta remind yourself that you know you did this to yourself for not doing with this for a while because you haven't because you even if you want to do something different for a game where you want to do something new to not get stale with a game that has been going on for so long and yet you sometimes people sometimes developers choose to ignore or they just don't know if this is a good idea or not like they don't know how to dwell with what the fans want because there's going to be so many opinions and ideas and whatnot for people to put in the table to see what sticks because there's going to be so much response and feedback that you're going to have a rough time to get people together to fix up the problems that people are having, like with anti-cheat, with cheaters going among the gaming landscape, because that's been a thing for so long with other games that they sometimes developers don't know how to fix it or they try to fix it but yet they couldn't they it keeps going on and on for so long and just for so long that like I just don't know like how you do it because I'm not a developer myself. I don't know how difficult it must be for the developers to handle like these things. But yet, I could see that is it is very tough to just like to figure out what will you do in order to fix a game that is in deep waters shit, because it has been going down the dumps of people shitting on the game. They keep constantly having problems and they don't know what to do. And I just think that you need to have a good PR. You need to talk with the players like you are like their friends in a way, because otherwise you are not gonna be you're not gonna be able to get what's straight for these fans for what they want for a game to get better, because otherwise this game is gonna be done. You're gonna be losing money, you're gonna be losing support, and people are just gonna outright call you out for all the bullshit you've done because you are
Yeah,
not listening. And
absolutely.
it is unfortunate with some of these companies that are big and they just think only with money, because that's what most of these companies out there right now are doing, was that they only listening with what the with what we want for money, like what can we do to get these kids or these players or whatever they can give us money. Oh, we can get these skins, these Happy Meal gold type of skins, so they can just like get it off and tell their mommies to get their credit cards to go in to buy us the skins, so that way they can just have a good time and just keep playing. You know, like, because they want to find ways to nickel and dime players, and it's really horrible, because you're just gonna keep doing that and not care how the game is gonna turn out. And that is what sets me off when I'm looking at with Call of Duty right now, because that's what's going on right now with the multiplayer and Warzone, is that they just don't listen to fans. And I'm sure the developers want to listen to the fans, but then but they have their bosses telling them what to do and what they shouldn't do, and it sucks because they can't do much other than to listen what the upper management are doing, and it's gonna make the game suffer even worse, where no one is gonna be out there talking to the fans about what's going on. And it sucks because I know that developers care, and I'm sure they care. I'm sure they want to care about it, but if their hands are tied, then the game is just gonna be suffering even more, and it's
Yeah,
gonna scare off the players so much that they just don't want to play again. And I've seen that with a lot of with a lot of these live service games, where it just doesn't go well for communicating with fans, because they only think about dollar signs. And I think, like I said, I think it's important is to be transparent about what's going on, and just try to communicate with your fans more if you guys want to have a healthy, wealthy community to band together. I mean, look at freaking Helldivers 2. After what happened with Sony and with the requirement for PlayStation Network to go play the games,
yeah,
and Sony kind of back up a little bit about that because the fans around are angry because they want to play the game on Steam, and everyone gathered together, even the developers themselves. They want the game to be good. They want them to get the game to be good to play, and just wanting to make this game fun for all the community to play out there. I
yeah,
mean, hell, they did an update where they just made a freaking cape of the with the Steam negative reviews graph, where they show a bunch of red line graphs going up and down, and they say, "Hey, let's make fun of this aspect by just making this as an update for our capes to make this look cool." And they did, because people have good ideas about what they want the game to be and what they should add in, because they all know well together, and they communicated with each other, with fans and developers, that this is what a game should be, just about being fun
yeah,
and knowing what a game should be, and have a good balance too. You know, because look, it may not be perfect. We all know that it is hard for to develop a game and trying to stay on top on what a game should be and what they should not be. Yet it's not bad to just say that you try, because honestly, for a game that have problems a lot in the development, I couldn't stay mad if they at least tried to communicate. I mean, like one time I would say with Call of Duty is that when Sledgehammer Games, when they made the World War II game, which is called Call of Duty World War II, they at least wanting to fix up the multiplayer, because at the start the created class system was terrible and it was having problems where people just think that it was imbalanced and wasn't working enough, and yet the developers decide to say, hey, let's stop right now and let's actually fix this shit. And they actually did it.
Yep.
They actually went back and fixed it, despite that there's still going to be microtransaction, there's still going to be because back in the day loot boxes were a thing, they're still going to be there back in the day, yet the developers wanting to make the game fair, playable, and they kept updating the game with new events, new special events, holiday events, and just a bunch of guns that would make sense in a game like Call of Duty World War II.
Yep.
And I think that developers are wanting to make a game fair and fun because they care about gaming.
Yep.
They want to make the game fair. As much as Call of Duty get their shits for how reputable about with how they are with Activision, I still see that sometimes the Call of Duty games can be fun. It's just that you need to have the right people for it, and you need to be you need to communicate with your fans well enough if you want to make the game fun and fair.
Yep.
So yeah, that's pretty much just how it should be for me. For just be transparent with your fans.
Okay.
That's I think that you should do to in order to keep a live service game up.
All right.
So there's that. Yeah.
All right. That's absolutely fair with you. So, all right. Redbeard, in your opinion, how difficult is it to support a new live service game knowing that a game could be shut down at any given time?
That's the most difficult thing because a lot of this live service thing, most of it will be shut down, give it to time limit and all that.
Yeah.
Majority of say Final Fantasy, like for example, Square Enix Final Fantasy mobile games, they last around either between 7 to 8 years. Like we just recently just had Brave Exvius shut down, and
Yep.
that was kind of shocked shock to people. And over time, Record Keeper Final Fantasy Record Keeper got shut down as well.
It did, yes.
From unknown expectations of why did they have to shut down? Don't know. I don't know. It's like the lifespan ever since 7 years. But on the Japan server, it's going up real well. It's mostly is if there is a few games that you love, if you find any games that just started. And it's something that you like, or something like it's a series you like, for example, like Final Fantasy, Tales, of like just the gacha game stuff. Play for a couple months, see what happens. It's all right to take a load off from the game, maybe for a couple months to a year. Come back, see what's happening, see all these updates, all this stuff. See that they revamped the banner so like you can actually get a 5-star, not just spamming.
Yep.
Wasting your freaking courtesy to get the shit you need. Record Keeper, you're the only one that fixed that shit up. Like don't wail on the game as well, please. For the love of God, don't wail on the game because shit, it's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and my most favorite part is there was only one game that I did that I went hard after they announced the servers were shutting down for Mobius Final Fantasy. I put so many hours in that game. Even after I played with a friend and he got off from it and I still continued playing. And he was on and off. I was like on and off as well, but I put majority hours to it. They had like events like 587 event. 580 series events on there as well. They had 7, they had 8, they had 10, no 7, 13, 7, 8, no 10, then 8. I missed the 10 event, and I got back into the 8 event. After that 8 event, they announced the closure of the game, and I was like, shit.
Yep.
So the best thing to do is, the best thing I did was on Mobius Final Fantasy, is I went out. They released all the events in that game too that you missed, like all the Final Fantasy events they had. Did all that. They most of the times I've seen, aka Tales of Link, they had a summit. They did they summoning banner. They like you can get all the stuff you want for like one currency. And I remember seeing people put posts of it. They're getting all the shit they're needing.
Yep.
And we were hoping that would happen, but no, they didn't. It was all full currency. So, that game, oh my god, I would say my favorite ball because you can grind currency in that game, gain currency in that game. And there was one site to do it. I remember getting about 20,000 matches site, and that was the game currency for the banners, and that was fine.
Wow. Nice.
And like when I say this, when that game was announced, I told my friend about it. We hopped on and we started doing all the online events and started whooping ass on that every multiplayer game.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my part of the story.
Okay. So, in terms of how difficult it is to support a new live service game, knowing that a game could be shut down at any given time, the problem that I have right now is the fact that there's a lot of live service games that unfortunately, like they start off really hot, but then it gets to a point where like companies make one very boneheaded decision after another that gets a lot of people to lose interest in the game. And when people try to tell them, like, that's not what we want, fix it, there are times where some of the companies would eventually relent and they were like, okay, they give in and then they just fix the stuff, listen to the fans, and actually, like, give the people what they want or what they ask for. But there are also companies that are basically doubling down. They're like, la, 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 I am not listening, stuff like that. They refuse to listen, and instead they want to continue doing what they do and only add worse things that will drive any other people still playing the game to leave and to not come back. Then the game gets shut down, and they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that the games get shut down. Instead, they find the most ridiculous excuses as to why the game shuts down. No, you just refuse to listen to the fans. They're not going to take you seriously. The next time you make another live service game, they're not going to show up. And you want to know why they're not going to show up? Because you drove them away the last time. What makes you think they're going to come back this time? They'll be like, oh, it's going to be different this time. Well, even if it is, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to trust you because you made the decisions already before, and people are led to believe that you might be making those same decisions or worse decisions again. So I can't see people like supporting a game if these companies are just going to drive people away. Another thing I could probably see, like in regards to how difficult these games can be in regards to the lifespan, it's really the fact that I've seen some games come and go, but like games start off hot, but people lose interest because like maybe the game is just not like vibing for them. This is not the type of game that they would play, and then like the servers are just like filled, like they're just empty, like barely anyone even playing, and then it gets shut down. But then you have games that start off not as a live service, but they become a live service as a way to pivot because people are not buying the game initially. And they're like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and turn this into a free-to-play game with live service model. Maybe people will be interested in playing the game. They'll try the game out that way. And if it doesn't work out, then people are like, no, it's not my thing. and then it gets shut down, and the people that still playing these games are like, man, why are you shutting this down? But the real thing, the real reality is the fact that I've dealt with so many games that unfortunately shut down. Many of them didn't even last a year, like Rumbleverse, Super Mario Bros. 35. Those are just examples, like of games that didn't last even a year. And the main thing about it is that I just don't. It's really hard for me to like get attached to some of these games. Like Knockout City was a game that I was attached to. I love playing Knockout City. I used to play Knockout City all the time with my friends. I love the idea of Knockout City. But then when it got shut down, and then when Rumbleverse got shut down, and no Super Nintendo Satellaview, that does not count. That's a completely different thing altogether. Not the same thing. But honestly, I just honestly kind of feel like these games had so much potential, and unfortunately it just goes to waste. Like Knockout City was a game I had fun with, and then all of a sudden, blam, shut down.
Yeah, that's a shame too, because a lot of these games are well designed, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're well designed. It's a big shame.
Yeah,
It's just a growing pain of our young industry. Video games in general, I always say this every time, are just a young art form. It's just a growing pain of our industry. We'll be there when it matters and stick up for what we believe in and try and course correct them when it matters, and that's the best we can do.
yeah.
And you just remember the past of the games and stuff. That's what me and my friend obviously when we talk about certain mobile games, aka Mobius, like all the big games, the mobile games we have played, and we were just like that game we have been spending the most of the time to shit, and we play multiplayer all the fucking time to shit, and it's never gonna be the same. And that game has like perfect OST soundtrack, battle system. Oh man, I downloaded that OST from that game so bad.
Yeah. Like I just don't know. Like I really, there's so many live service games I really want to get into. Like I want to play more Marvel Rivals, but the problem is that with me having to deal with a lot of stuff, both personal life as well as like what I'm doing on my normal stream time. I don't really have too much time to play Marvel Rivals and get into it. I love the game for what I played. I think it's fun. But I just don't have as much time. But when I play
Perfectly understandable. 3 out of the 4 of us here are in our 30s, so perfectly understandable.
Yes. But
Yeah.
that's basically the fact. Like
but I mean,
go ahead.
yeah, like I mean, I was gonna say something like there's one thing I should have realized sooner about what I was gonna say with my points about communication is that even then, with games like with Knockout City and Rumbleverse, the one other problem that we always tend to have and is beyond from our control, and that is sales expectation.
Yeah.
And companies are expecting a game to do wonders. They expect the game to just do numbers that they wanted it to be in order for it to continue. And that's sadly the thing where if a game doesn't look or sound like it could make gangbusters, then it would be dead on arrival, sadly. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised that Knockout City lasted for a while when it was out, and I just didn't think that a game where it's about a dodgeball game and people just go out and have fun with it, especially with they bringing in some collab stuff like with like Dead Space, and I believe they did they did Team and T at one time as well. Like they did a lot of collab stuff for that game, and yet even if all these years they did with the game, it didn't dwell well with EA for wanting to be big, so they decided to just shut it down later on because they didn't think it was good enough for it to just last long, or they don't even think that they could keep up with it to have the servers up for long. So it's like it's sad to see that they just didn't think it would have the potential. Yet we be. You guys just don't. You guys just don't think it's you guys don't think it's good enough for us because you want a game that is like Fortnite and Call of Duty or your whatever big games, big game trends out there that are making big money, because that's what everyone in the industry wants right now. It's a game that is as big as those big ones, like with GTA Online as well. Like that game it's huge and it's making more money than we ever thought, especially when they keep re-releasing GTA 5 over and over and over again, and just to get the games out there. And it's been making gangbusters. And other companies are saying that when we got to do the same thing, but we got to do our own thing.
Yeah.
And whatever we do, it ain't hitting. So why are we failing? Because you guys are not thinking straight.
Because
You
they
could've
don't know
just
what they're doing.
fixed it.
Or no,
They
actually,
don't
no.
know what they're doing.
Or in some cases, they know what they're doing, but it's not what we want them to do. It's them saying, "Oh, we're going to change something up, and we're going to make this thing different than how you used to playing it, whether you like it or not." And a lot of them do not even back down. Like when I think about Fall Guys, going back to that, how Fall Guys, when it first released in August 2020 during the pandemic, it was fantastic. The publisher was not Epic Games; it was Devolver Digital. They were the ones. They were the ones who published it, because Mediatonic started off as an indie game, because before that game they made, or at least like someone within the team made, Hatoful Boyfriend, which that's a completely different game, completely different genre, but it's within their portfolio. And then we ended up getting Fall Guys, and Fall Guys started off hot. I know, like in 2021, that was when we were supposed to get the Xbox and Switch versions, which got delayed the following year. The reason it got delayed is not because of technical issues or whatever. No. Because otherwise it would have came out later that year. No. The reason it got delayed is because Mediatonic got bought out by Epic Games. And and people were worried about what Epic Games was going to do. Because I remember so many people were playing Fall Guys for like months and months, and then like a year to 2 years prior to Epic fully owning Mediatonic and also the Fall Guys IP. It got to the point where like I'm with you on the whole crowns being completely useless, Matt. Like, I love the fact that like it was one of those things where you wanted to get a crown and it actually meant something. I've got only quite a few, but
it was a driving force. It was a driving force.
I had the motivation was there to get it. But now it's like, oh, it's just a trophy and it doesn't do anything. They changed the model. Like, yes, you could buy stuff, but you didn't even need to spend that much money to get the stuff you want. Now you have to spend more money to get what you want. And it gets to a point where it drives up the whole idea of FOMO even more, because if you don't get the stuff you want, the skins or any other features, you're going to be missing out. So, so yeah.
Yep, and that's why they want to put you with the money, where to say, guys, get your wallets out. We're gonna get you a Hatsune Miku skin, and it's gonna stop appearing, and you guys are probably not gonna see it again. And that's how they get you. And the thing is, what they keep, and when companies buy these stuff because they think it's gonna do well, if they put on their own spin to it to say, hey, this is good.
One thing I want to bring.
How about we do nothing with that? Let's do our own thing.
One thing I want to bring up is that when Epic Games and Apple were in a lawsuit with each other, there was a lot of leaked documents that we weren't really supposed to be seen. It was not supposed to be in the public, but it got leaked. One of the things that I remember reading about was that, because that's how I knew that PlayStation didn't even want to do cross-platform multiplayer. They had to be kicking and screaming. Epic Games had to pay them a lot of money to get them to join in for Fortnite cross-platform multiplayer, as well as Rocket League, because they own both. And not only that, but also the fact that they approached Nintendo to get Samus in Fortnite, and Nintendo was more than okay with it, but there was a condition. It could only be on the Switch version, and then like when you're playing Fortnite on other platforms, is basically just a generic skin, because they did this with Rocket League, because there's a Samus car and Mario and Luigi cars, but you could only play on the Switch version. Mind you, that stipulation, that all of that was done before Epic Games bought Psyonix, the developers of Rocket League. We weren't even supposed to know about that, but yeah, I just figured I'd just bring that up. But yeah, Epic Epic Games just makes a lot of horrible decisions in regards to how they handle everything, to the point where I can't take them seriously.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, the reason is that. But yeah, I'll conclude before we go to the next thing. I'll conclude this point by saying the reason that it's difficult to support a new live service game, knowing that a game could be shut down at any given time, is that it's just hard to get attached to something, and when the game shuts down, then you think that that's going to happen to every live service game that's going to come out moving forward. And yeah, cherish the games that you have now, but it's really hard to trust a lot of these publishers, because at the end of the day, they just want these games to hit it big, and if they're not getting what they want out of it, like I said, here today, gone tomorrow. That's what it is.
Yep, and also because there's been now too many live service games out there right now that it's gonna get oversaturated, and yet if
oversaturation is a big thing. I co-sign McMahon's point,
because even then, when you have too many of those things, of live services, then it's gonna implode right in front of their faces, like what happened with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, when the music genre became too big that it blew up in their faces, and they said, "All right, guys, it's dead. Shut it down." But
Rock Band even tried to come back in 2021, and they also sort of fizzled out again.
And Guitar Hero tried to come back too with Guitar Hero Live, but that failed miserably too. But the thing is that it's surprising to me, with Battle Royale was being a big thing back in the day, and even though it is sort of still being a big thing right now, but it's not as big as what people wanted for live service games, because that is what the driving force now for the gaming market, because it is making the companies a lot of money, and they want to make a quick money making idea with these live service games. I mean, look at PlayStation making freaking 13 live service games at the same time, yet they had to shut down most of these because, wow, who knew that making so many live service games at the same time was a bad idea? Looking
at you, Concord.
Yeah, and oh boy, I have a lot to say about that once we get to that other topic.
Well, I was reminded of something. You mentioned Rock Band and Guitar Hero. There was another game, and this was also from Harmonix, Fuser, because that was I want to say it's kind of a live service game, but you're like basically like a DJ mixing like music. That got shut down too. I remember seeing that being hyped. Like, it came out like in 2021. It was hyped up, and then I think it shut down like in 2022 or 2023. I think it was 2023.
I think it's 3, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, like, and the reason it got shut down is because the fact that it was around the time where Harmonix was actually being bought by Epic Games, which now they actually have Fortnite Festival instead. Like, so basically Fortnite Festival is like modern day Rock Band, the closest thing you're going to get to modern day Rock Band. So the fact that at least they have something that's alive, but Fuser had potential, and they just didn't really last that long. But
it's like, it's alive, but at what cost?
Yep. But now the next thing is, we'll start with you on this one, EpicMan. Because after this we got community questions. But what do you think is the future of live service games? So Epic, we'll start with you on this one.
Okay. Future of live service games. It should die. Like, the thing about live service games is what I said before, that it's gonna burst out eventually, because it's just like any other genres of video games, where if there's too many of these things, like, it's gonna burst
Yeah.
because you bursting a bubble because you are going. It's like you're going closer to the sun. You are going that you're risking yourself of making such of an idea that we've already seen before because everyone is wanting to get the piece of the pie of Fortnite for its success, or I guess you can say Warzone because that was a success too,
Yeah.
or just anything with, or I guess Apex as well, Apex, Fortnite, Warzone. Those big games at the time they were huge, like really huge. Warzone was benefited because of the pandemic, and it got a lot of people playing that game, and everyone wants to do the same thing for trying to be the biggest live service game, and yet they also want to make a lot of money of the live service games. We've seen other companies like with Ubisoft, like I mentioned before, with Hyperscape. They wanted to make a battle royale game, yet they failed miserably. And they tried to do that again, but it's not battle royale. It was they were trying to go after with Sea of Thieves with Skull of Bones,
Oh
the game
God.
that we were waiting for the game of Skull and Bones for how many years? And now and
Yep.
yeah, like and now they released it last year, and it was the biggest flop that I've ever seen from Ubisoft, where they spent
Yep.
so much money and claimed it to be a quadruple A game. Like it's
No, it was shit.
It
I
was.
seen gameplay of it.
it
Oh
was not
god.
fine. Like it's like it's just it's so baffled to me that they claimed it to be the quadruple A of gaming, which felt like it had meaningless of ways of saying because really, what does triple A mean anymore when you making shit like a game like this where it's unbalanced, unfinished, and yet you're gonna claim that you're gonna fix it later on, like most other games have been going where it's unfinished now, will finish later, and it's just so weird that I just don't know how we can last this long because I feel like this bubble's gonna burst anytime soon. That it's gonna implode and people are gonna find a new way of making money, and it is just it's just frustrating and is honestly tiring. I'm I'm getting to that point where I'm getting tired with seeing these service games where they just wanting to keep going after other people's success and they wanted to keep going at it because they think it's going to work out.
Yep.
Which I can't blame them because really, what else are you going to do? Because if you ain't going to make the next Fortnite, who will? Someone's going to do it eventually, and then it works. Maybe not always, but it could work. And yet there's going to be another one that follows it, and then another, 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 and then another. It's just frustrating.
It really is.
And I can see why they want to go for it. I can understand it. I'm not a businessman because this is all business talk where they think of these ideas of how can we make money? Oh, we just got to follow the trend because that's what people do anyway, you know? And yeah, it's just like with, you know, with YouTube when you want to catch fame where you had to do actually maybe not YouTube. I mean, even YouTube is the same category, but like freaking TikTok people where they want to catch the trends, like doing these stupid challenges that think they can make them famous or something, you know, like, ooh, these people are doing this challenge. Let's do the same thing because that will give us all the views and such, you know, because we can be popular. We want to be like the popular kids. And it's the same thing like this, where with gaming industries that they think that this can make them lots of money. And yeah, it could. But really, you're gonna have so many other people follow and it's gonna fumble hard.
It's like it's kind of like when you go to like a shoe store and people are waiting in line for the new shoes and people want to buy it at first, and then like later on there's going to be something new that's going to be like coming out. Same thing with like a new toy or something. It's like, ooh, shiny new toy. But then, like, eventually, once people stop playing these live service games, it's like, you know that meme, the Toy Story meme, where you see Andy dropping Woody,
And dropping
and
Woody,
he says,
Always my favorite part.
He says, I don't want to play with you anymore. Like,
Essentially,
basically,
it's
that's what it is.
essentially like that. Where yes, because it's hard to find a way to gather fans together to play your new toy or your new game because hey guys, I got this game, it's better than this one, and then be like, how? Oh, how? It got a cool hat. Sold. Fuck yeah. Because people are gonna find the dumbest reasons to just say that this game is better because of this and this and that. Yet, even though it is essentially sort of the same idea, game style, or gameplay of this other game that you played before, and it's just hilarious to see that because we go one after the other for a game that is pretty much the same, yet they just wanted to do something a little bit different, which I will give props to developers of finding ways to try to make things different than the other, because like there's been such other games like with Apex, with Call of Duty, and I guess I would say Valorant, even though that's pretty much like a CS Go type of game, but people just wanting to make their own style of games, and Overwatch is also one up there that I would say is the most uniqueness for it, even if it is just basically like a first person, I guess you would say first person MOBA games or TF2, because they have their similarities here and there, but they try to make things uniquely different than other games that it stands out because you want a game that stands out than the rest, and it can work. It can work, but you have to be either good enough to make it different, or you have to be lucky.
Yep.
It has to be either of these two things, and I can see it work. Yet, people are gonna be doing that over and over and over and over again, and it is gonna get saturated, overly saturated, that it is gonna burst. And I just don't know if I could see the future of live service game being any better because I'm starting to feel that it is gonna burst sooner than later.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, then props to you guys. You can somehow keep up with this overly saturated market that I think that it should have been done with anyway, but yet people just want to keep on going with it, and I'm kind of scared to see what would happen if for some reason the stock market just shuts down everything about gaming. And I just think that's going to be, I think that's just exaggerated of me saying that, but I just don't know if I could even say anything differently than that because that's what it feels like that is about to happen for a video game market crash that happened like back in the day. And it's just, I don't know if I could see anything different with it, but I just hope for something better. I just hope for something new and different for gaming because it is, like I said, it is getting tiring, and I just don't see live service games lasting this long because really it is getting old and we need to move on.
Yes.
Well, I'll springboard off your conversation a little. I'm going to wrap the conversation around to the positive or the bright side, I guess a bright side. So, well, one, just to springboard off of what you sort of just said about a video game crash, I personally think if a video game crash were to happen nowadays, it wouldn't affect all of video games. It would just affect certain genres. That's just my view stance. I don't think it would affect all of video games, but who knows?
No. I wouldn't say that. I'm not saying like it would be for like a whole game. It is an exaggerating point that I'm making. It's just that because people were saying that with that type of statement because they feel like with how video games are, they just imagining that with this type of genre, they just think that every other games are being live service game because we've been seeing a lot of live service because we rarely see much of people praising single player, which is a sad thing to see. But even then, we're still getting single player games, and
I think we are more on consoles. People praise first party Nintendo games. I mean, they mostly deserve it, but again,
exactly. But it's just I'm scared that because with that. Because I've been always seeing people praising about live service game nowadays. Sometimes I'm not saying it's not the case for everything, but it's just that I'm scared that if this keeps going on, that they just wanted to keep talking about live service games for the longest time.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Back
I
to
know I'm
my
probably exaggerating.
back to my angle of viewpoint. Let me, from my perspective, divide live service into two genres because I don't think they fall in the same umbrella. There's PvP and PvE. I think PvE is doing phenomenally well. MiHoYo is 3 for 3 in the PvE genre. They have 3 games: Genshin, Star Rail, and ZZZ. And now Infinity Nikki is apparently doing gangbusters numbers too. I'm happy for them. They deserve it too. So apparently PvE is doing fucking phenomenal. Apparently PvP is where definitely live service definitely goes to die in a Lion King wasteland. Apparently no one can live up to the mantle of Fortnite and Dead by Daylight. Fortnite and Dead by Daylight in both asymmetrical killer and online shooter are still kings, and they don't not deserve it, but it is jarring that no one can step up to their mantle. I really thought one of the other slasher killer games were gonna not dethrone. There's no dethrone. There's no Dead by Daylight killer. We always see that's always a death knell sentence in the first place. But I really thought step up to the mantle is the sentence I prefer to use. I really thought Friday and/or Texas would step up to the mantle of DBD. I mean, to be fair, in my personal opinion, they're better games. But as far as longevity goes, they burned out as a candle. You know, candle burns twice as bright, only burns half as long. But it's something about it. Just they didn't last. As far as shooters go, what you all mentioned earlier is like, Fortnite's still basically king. Not a lot of mantle can step up to it. Even having the future of live service. Also, I want to be tongue in cheek and say anime girls, because anime girls seem to be ruling the PvE side. The 3 for 3 MiHoYo and Infinity Nikki. That seems to be the key ingredient. Along with, again, there's the rise of anime girls in general. I'm not going to go on my soapbox. The rise of anime girls in general, especially with Hololive taking off in 2020, just seems to be a huge factor in artistic medium, which is cool. I like that. But even having anime girls in your game doesn't necessarily mean a PvP success, because I know there's some struggle, like Stronova, that other PvP shooter anime girl game, has trouble with audience. What was the one Silver was playing on Discord in front of us with like the different like tech colored anime girls, and he was throwing grenades, remember? And there was like a knife, there was like a... It was what?
I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, but you remember Silver playing that like when we were watching him on Discord, right?
Yeah, yes.
Apparently, come on, it was like he had a grenade and he had like a Team Fortress 2 knife, and he kept getting mad because he died. Not to be tongue in cheek about it, but yeah. But anyway,
the reason why, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I'm trying to remember the name. If Silver were here, he can tell me. But it was the one it was the one he was sharing with us, like itching for indies with us. Not live on Twitch, but just in the Discord. But anyway, I digress. Apparently, having anime girls in your game isn't a guaranteed ingredient for success. Like I said, I know Stronova fans have trouble getting an audience. Like they're dwindling. Unfortunately, it's hard to find a match in their game. So it just depends. Again, PvP apparently is sort of almost a death knell for your game. I hate to say it. Even games like Murder Mystery Club, a Midnight Murder Club, is not dead, and it has a price to buy in, but there's also a free 5-person guest pass. But even then, their Steam DB numbers don't look amazing. And I always hate to shove numbers in people's faces. It's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in. But they need some help too, and that's also a not, well, there's single player. You can play against bots, but there's a parse single player content, and it relies all on multiplayer. But again, it's so weird. It's Wasteland on PvP side with only 2 kings. It's almost like fucking Dark Souls. 2 kings, Fortnite and Dead by Daylight, but on PvE side, it's phenomenally flourishing. 3 anime girls game, a 4th anime girl game, Infinity Nikki, and a whole bunch of other things that maybe will come out in the future. I didn't even know this before coming an Infinity Nikki fan. That Infinity Nikki game is the 5th game in the series. It's actually had 4 other previous games over the past decade, 12 years. It's a 12-year-old series, believe it or not.
Really?
I mean, I was surprised when I look into it. It was like,
yeah. This isn't even the first game. By the way, all 4 of those games I mentioned have really good English dubs. So I think, again, not being a grandstanding person, I think English dubs help. English dubs help.
Say that.
English dubs help your game. We're 4 for 4 proven. And even then, Infinity Nikki wasn't the first Nikki game to have English dub. The 4th one before in 2021 did. I went back and looked at some video footage of said game. It's just interesting. So anyway, Wasteland on PvP side, PvE, beautiful flourishing flower field. Kind of wild. I do hope PvP maybe recovers, or maybe will die off. Who knows? Again, I'm not a live service junkie. I've only played, like I said, my previous story, a handful of them. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, yeah, because like I know what you mean by that, and I would say that PvP, yes, it is pretty much in a sort of wasteland kind of point right now because, like I said, I think that games beforehand with live service, like they did try to go ahead against Fortnite. Like remember Apex Legends, like
Yeah.
that that game was trying to be like a game that is trying to go against Fortnite because I remember there were articles where people saying how Apex now has a ping system where you can point out where your teammates should look or attack at because I remember Fortnite never had it before Apex did it, and Apex did it first until Fortnite actually bring it in now. And even then, they also bring in the revive van because they never had a way to revive teammates before, and Apex did it first. Like they were going against Fortnite for having mechanics and stuff that should have been in a battle royale or even evolutionized battle royale
Yeah.
games, and it was thriving for to having more stuff to try to say, hey, we got stuff that we can do better than Fortnite does, and then Fortnite be like, oh yeah. We could do it better, and lo and behold, they did it, and they kept going. And right now, and I can't speak of right now for what Apex is doing because it is still going on. It's not dead yet, but it's just not as big as it used to be before when people were talking about it as much. But I mean, I could be wrong because I'm not in that headspace right now. I'm just mostly with Fortnite at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how to feel about how now. But even then, but I do understand and know where you're coming from, and I would say that yeah, like PvE games are pretty much the way to go because it really is something that it would go for people to play, especially with anime games now, like with MiHoYo and with like Genshin and ZZZ. They are pretty good and they are getting a lot of people playing it, and I can see that being going well because it really is these games are good and they still continue to be good despite some flaws with behind the scenes with with recently with the actors and the AI protection and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a different story. But even then, the games themselves are doing pretty well, and I rarely see people complain about it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, but I will say I am exaggerating about the whole point with the stock market crashing thing because it's just something that I feel that people are having that thought process of why there's so many live service games that are shit that they complain about that they just go on the boat saying yeah this could ruin the game industry in all years because that's what everyone kept saying nowadays that I keep hearing about. And I know I feel like that's going to be an exaggerated way of saying it because we're still going to be fine. It's just that we need to change the genre because the genre is pretty much dying sooner or later. So
Yeah.
I think it is probably is going to be um, changing up sooner or later because I just don't think live service games are going to last this long, just like any other genre that we've been dealing with, like with the rock band or the rhythm games of with guitar controllers that we used to do with because those died out later out. So I just think you know it's going to happen for live service games, in my opinion.
Yep. Um. Now, Redbeard, what's your opinion on the future of live service games?
I'm going to die quickly the same with what Epic said because it's based on the player count and how much money they're making, and playing a lot of live service games, aka mobile games. I have seen like mobile games where they have a last like 2 year, like I would say have a last to like 2 years.
Yeah.
I have played a few games that have lasted for 2 years, even less than a year, due to revenue and player count. And mostly I would say is that um because I know Tales of Historia came out shoot, can't remember what headline maybe summer 2021, 2022, and about half year, maybe about 6 months, they announced the close to this shutting the game down
Yeah.
due to sales and player count. And that was even as well. They hadn't even finished the story yet, and they have to finish the story by releasing releasing the storybook,
Mhm.
so everybody can read the whole story. Let's see. Mobius came out. I was gonna say another game with Mobius, but that Mobius was shut down in 2020.
Yeah.
So it survived about about 4 to 5 years,
Yeah.
give or take. But they finished the story up. To me, it felt right when I played the whole game after they announced the whole deal. I played it to see how the story is. It kind of felt rushed. They introduced some new characters and new system, new jobs, and all that. It felt rushed. It's kind of new something. Um, also the Rays that came out on global that got shut down about less than a year because of player count and sales.
Mhm.
So that was sad for everyone that played it. And for me, even though I got off of it because it was sort of sluggish going. But when I about maybe a year or two, I got back on the GP server, and it a lot of stuff. There was a lot of good events they had, and they had a lot of anime crossover.
Yeah.
Uh, it's based on the money and player count, and mostly sometimes as well due to competition of other games. Because I remember Overwatch came out, and then there was another game called Battleborn,
Yeah.
and
Oh my god, Battleborn.
that to me was better than playing Overwatch. I had fun, and they were losing because it was big competition with Overwatch. It could survive, but no, it was severing damage from the whole between the competition with Overwatch.
Yep.
Oh my! I remember that whole thing with Battleborn. I remember playing it once and twice, and I thought it was unique for its time, where it was trying to do with its with the character designs and the gameplay. Like I remember it well. Like it was. It was
Wasn't the
weird.
tree's name Grover?
I don't remember, but
I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is.
Well, wouldn't Red know maybe off the top of his head? Wasn't the tree's name you play as in that game Grover?
I can't remember. It's been a while.
Fair.
It literally has been so long, and I'm pretty sure Silver would know, but he probably remember seeing the game. But yeah, and yes, Overwatch did have a lot of the characters that like would appeal to everyone, and it's probably why Overwatch got a lot of like fans praising the game. So, and yeah. And oh, I thought Silver maybe played Battle One, but I guess I was mistaken. But but it is just it is wild back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. It was so many good games were out, so much fun, all that competition.
Yep.
Is what drives the sales.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't remember any of these. And it's just mostly a lot of DI games, online DI games. I say, I don't want to go into it. I was going to talk about Destiny. I was like, I done with Destiny after that whole shebang.
Oh God, yeah. Just way too much of these live service games.
It was good. It was good on the first one. The first one was good. I think it had funny ass moments on the first game it came out.
Yeah.
People were breaking into glitches, trying to see the other DLCs as in the game. There was another one to where it was they released the second DLC, the Corona DLC. Man, that was the most funniest thing ever. I remember they released it, and I think about it was I think it was getting to the holiday season. I think 2 week they got to the 2 week holiday season. There was it wasn't known into the internet and stuff, but I heard that like people were finding cheats, glitches defeating Crota. And then I was just like, this can't be possible. And next thing, after their with the 2 week Christmas vacation was coming up, they were like, all right, we'll do this game to y'all. Take care, peace out. And it was just like, all right.
Didn't Peter Dinklage voice like a character in that game, like a floating orb character?
Yeah, the ghost. Yeah.
Yeah, they dropped that shit. Oh. Everybody started doing it during the whole Christmas break, and it was just everybody was doing it. And then when it came back after Christmas break, they had to update the whole game, fix that shit up. Well, I think they closed the freaking raid for Crota because they had to fix that shit up because they were like, y'all fuckers do too much shit. I was like, well, y'all gave us a shitty ass game. There's so many glitches to shit.
Yep.
Thanks for the Black Hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that.
Yep.
That was like I have seen like even like this game was so glitchy as shit. I remember Atheon as well. Everybody was doing the bug. Everyone was doing Atheon bug glitch, where they just start walking back and fell. And they start patching it. And everybody would start finding some more ways to glitch it. And I'm just like, can y'all guys ever play the game and find out the glitches this shit or not?
Yep.
Y'all made the game. Yeah, I even created some games. They created the guns, the weapons, and made the abilities. And next thing y'all can say like, "Oh, this ability is too. I mean, this game's gun is too broken. We have to put it off to the side. We're no longer to be used until we fix it." I'm like, y'all.
Yep. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add, Redbeard?
That's about it.
All right. Before I continue, Matt, the response to Epic earlier, do you want to count that as your answer, or do you have more you want to add?
No, that's pretty much my answer. I just felt really in the need to springboard out because Epic's answer was really good. I just felt really inclined just to really invigorate the answer too.
Okay, then. All right. So, I'll go with mine before we do the community questions. All right. So, this is going to be a very short answer. I'm going to be brief. But what I think the future of live service games is, well, it's not going to be anywhere near as big in the next few years as as it ever was like during its peak, which I can't really tell when I could say it peaked. What I can say is that we've been seeing a trend of games coming out because everybody wants to do their own type of live service. Some are still around. Many of them have kicked the buckets, but honestly, it's just really hard to feel attached to them because they're just going to be gone at some point, like here today, gone tomorrow, which I will still say Knockout City, I miss you so much, but for the future, I just think that we're probably going to be seeing less live service games, but the ones we will see, the pattern will still be exactly the same. It's really hard for me to trust a lot of new ones at this point because I'm thinking that a lot of them may not last that long. So it's just very difficult for me to support a lot of live service games because I don't know how long they're going to last. But yeah. So let's do the community questions. We're going to start with Dragon. What do you think has made the most successful live service games like Fortnite, Rocket League, etc. stand most apart from the others and has most contributed to the success and staying power? Well, to answer that question, it's the fact that some of them, like, you have to be at the right place at the right time. Fortnite, here's the thing. It came out after another battle royale, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, which I'm shocked that we haven't really mentioned that game much tonight, but
I never played it, so I have no experience whatsoever.
yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, I would think that too. But there was another game that actually I would say was around PUBG that was doing live service battle royale at the time that I thought it was pretty good from what I watched, and it was a game called The Calling, and it was on PC Steam, and it was pretty much just a battle royale game where you are thrown in the middle of a wasteland area in a forest or somewhere in this or some abandoned area, and you just go ahead and find stuff on the ground like some backpacks, dynamite, sticks, and bows and arrows and stuff like that. You can just pretty much find whatever you find on the battlefield and trying to just survive and be the number one player standing. And it is pretty much similar to what it is for battle PUBG and Fortnite at the time, and yet I just thought that game was sort of a predecessor to all other battle royales because I don't remember anything beforehand before PUBG or just The Calling, because I think those were the games that I thought those were the start of it all for battle royales to being a popular genre.
Yes, because I think what makes them stand out is just like how like when they got into the whole like live service thing, like because it's just a matter of how different your game is. Because if your game is basically like a carbon copy of something else, people are not going to be interested. They're going to just want to play. Why play that when you could play this game instead? Like because there were 3 games. Like we had Overwatch and Battleborn, but there was a game that came out around the same time that was mentioned in chat. Paladins. Paladins was another one.
Mm-hmm.
I tried Paladins. I thought it was okay, but it didn't really last. It didn't really have any staying power for me. But I feel like it just depends on the game itself, and if it's different. Like even if it's the same type of game, like if someone made their own version of Fortnite, what difference does it make? Like what exactly makes it different? Makes it stand out compared to the other. You have to do something different, something that has not been done in Fortnite that you have in your game. Now, granted, there was actually a game that Psyonix made before Rocket League. It was called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars. It was only on PS3 and it did not do great. So when they made Rocket League, yep, that is. So they made Rocket.
I'm sorry, that sounds awful.
It was a mouthful, but that was an actual game. It was only on PS3. But then Rocket League is basically a sequel, and all it was is just like soccer with cars. And it took off to the point where there had been competitive tournaments. I played it. It's fun. I'm not great at Rocket League, but it's fun. But that's the thing, because if you're going to do something, you got to do something different. That's just the way it works. What do you guys think?
I'll let Epic go if he wants to. I'm not going to interrupt him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, what's it called? I was gonna say like, yeah, because like I said before with Apex and Fortnite, where Apex wanted to go against Fortnite for trying to be the better battle royale, and they showed it with some of the game mechanics that Fortnite didn't have that would evolutionize the battle royale genre, like with the ping system or reviving your own teammate and just such other stuff they put in the game that would make it better and make the workflow even better. And Apex showed it that they can do better than Fortnite by just putting something that they never did,
Yep.
that they could have done before, but they didn't. And they haven't done the ping system ever since the very beginning, but Apex did it when they started doing their thing, So they pretty much just trying to show off how much they can do better of a battle royale game than Fortnite at the time, before Fortnite decided to just do whatever and make their own game of just being a better game than all the others. And that's how it stand out, because Fortnite is now not just a battle royale game. It is just a platform. a platform for just having a bunch of genre of games, like, because it is basically where you can just make your own game, or you can just have a hangout spot, or just play music, create stuff, and just hang around. Pretty much, it's a hangout spot for everyone, and that's what stands out for it with than all the others games, because now it's not just a battle royale game.
Yeah.
And for like others live services, it is hard to stand out because like I said before, again, it is just too much for people to just have the same idea and just wanting to be the one on the top for to say that I can do better. Just look at me, like I can do better, but what you can do different? I mean, like it's hard to just say that whatever you do is differently, because you really are just one of the people in the sea doing the same thing over and over, and it's hard to just say that it is different, because really it isn't. You're just doing the same thing as you were before over a while. But I think that for to stand out, it is just, you have to be unique, you have to be different, like in terms of gameplay, art style, I guess, characters too. Like you need to surely to grab people's attention, and you better hope that people will say yes to that, and to say, I will get into this for the longest time. So it
Yeah.
is important to just get the people's attention and to stand out for that. And yeah, I guess that would be my answer.
Yep.
I'll springboard into my answer. By the way, I'm just checking my news update on my phone. There's an Alan Wake Battle Royale live service game just announced. You wouldn't believe it.
Wait, really?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
No, I'm
sure.
fucking
Yeah, sure.
bullshitting. I'm
just
bullshitting.
like,
I was
Matt,
looking
don't
at
do
chat.
that.
Sorry, I had to have one Matt moment,
And
That's-
then
that's
people
all
were like,
good.
what?
That's, I couldn't resist because I saw chat.
Because it doesn't sound so bad, because I'm pretty sure people would be like, yeah, let's do that now.
To answer Dragon's community question very seriously, again, I will slice down the middle of PvP versus PvE live service games. So PvP. Yes, they as our previous statements, they seem to be in quite the pickle. They can't really get anything off the ground besides the two kings, Fortnite and Dead by Daylight. I do agree off EpicMan's big springboard point that yes, you have to be unique. I really want to tally back to Knockout City. I think Dodgeball itself just makes a really good gameplay type like that, because Dodgeball, because here's the point I'm trying to make, is that not every live service game needs to have a gun and you shoot people. That's also what's getting extremely oversaturated. A lot of live service games, especially the ones that try and stick around, are all gun based. And the reason why Knockout City really caught my attention and worked really well is because, one, it's an E-rated gun based game. In Knockout City, you essentially fire a spherical object and hit somebody with it and kill them, but it works because it's E-rated. Two, there's a lot more different mechanics around it than pulling an R button, a right trigger, and shooting something. You do technically shoot something, but I think Dodgeball just makes a good, interesting sport or game in general to base a multiplayer game about. It's interesting. As far as non-firing a gun at your opponent or firing a bullet at your opponent games go, again, I know it's a beaten record at this point, but you just have to be unique. I don't know. I mean, the PvP, I think back to Rakion Chaos Force from 2005. Like, you play as no one with a gun. You play as a knight, a mage, a thief, or you had a sword, and like I said, you did Halo type game objective. That's really cool. Again, I think the big thing in order for PvP to try and shine through, I know it's not easy, but you need to get away from the guns. Not enough shooting. Enough shooting. Enough is enough. Except for maybe Dodgeball. The ball gameplay was cool, but or find ways to.
What happened, Redbeard?
But no,
That's
it's
okay.
like to say
Oh,
that
yeah?
there was also on the battle royale.
Yep.
There was a like a magic battle royale. I think so.
Oh yes, Spellbreak. Spellbound. Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
You correct me.
Spellbreak.
Yeah, I played that one too. Like, I remember like playing that for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was so into it back in
That's-
the day with Rob.
That's true. Admittingly, that still kind of falls in the genre of firing something at an opponent, which, to be fair, I guess you would have to in that case. I don't know. It's like, I feel like we really have to move away from firing something at an opponent. Even though Knockout City, you fire something at an opponent, I get it, but I don't know. Again, I'm not a PvP live service expert. I am a PvE live service expert. I did say I would split this discussion in half. So PvE, like I said earlier in my discussion, is beautifully spring field. It's going great. The reason why is, well, I mean, I have to give MiHoYo a lot of credit. They're the masters at anime girl design and just good lore. I don't really play the MiHoYo games myself. I just watch the lore, but the lore is so good that I like learning about it through osmosis. Now hear me out. Hear me out. This is going to remind me of another game I haven't mentioned in this live service yet. It reminds me of League of Legends. I know, Vine Boom. I know. Give me a sec. Hear me out.
Mentioned that.
Hear me out. I was waiting for the right time to bring it up because I never streamed League of Legends. I stopped playing it as soon as I became a content creator because I due to time and all that. And also, to be fair, the game was slightly waning, but I digress. It's still alive today. But League of Legends has, even game aside, whatever you think about it, it has great lore. Look at Arcane. People watch Arcane without playing the game, which is perfectly fair. I get it.
It's a good show.
But League of Legends world itself has great lore, and I think MiHoYo really sunk their fangs into the idea of let's have some really good fucking lore, let's have some really nice character designs, and let's fucking make some money.
Yep.
And no, they had the right idea about that 3 times over. They managed 3 live service games. They're doing something right. Like it or not, that's what peak anime girl performance looks like it or not, MiHoYo games. Now, to bring up the 4th one, Infinity Nikki, they see their numbers seem to be fine, and they haven't died yet after 4 months, God bless. But yeah, they seem to be doing fine. I'll continue to support them too.
Matt, you forgot another one.
What?
Is it Wuthering
Wuthering Waves. To be fair, though, from what I hear, Wuthering Waves does have a numbers or like a dwindling player base issue. I've heard they really don't have a lot of. Yeah, from what I've heard, I know of a couple of online friends who play it, but it doesn't have the showmanship that MiHoYo games or Infinity Nikki have. I know what Wuthering Waves is. I've seen in action. They have a handful of good-looking anime girls too. I don't blame them, but
I played it. Just the interface is just so bad.
Well, see, there we go. You answered your own question.
Yeah.
It's just not organized how Hoyo has their shit like organized. This shit was not organized. You go to the menu, you're just like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
So yeah, it brings up another point. Like Stranova, I mentioned that shooter where the anime girls turn into Paper Mario to dodge bullets. That's actually a really cool mechanic. Again, we're going back to shooting, but Stranova's a PvP game. I sort of went out of PV for a sec. But Stranova's a PvP game involving shooting, but the girls turn into a Paper Mario mechanic to dodge bullets. That's really cool. Unfortunately, they have a dwindling player base issue. Again, maybe shooting is just oversaturated in general. They literally just released an anime girl in a hospital gown, so she's showing a lot of skin, and that still can't even save their numbers. So I mentioned my old point earlier. Anime girl doesn't always equal success. It is a key ingredient, though, as MiHoYo proven on the PvE side, but it's not 100% guaranteed success rate. There is sort of a je ne sais quoi you have to put into your game in order to really make people bite down and play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to fully answer Dragon's question, yeah, PvE is going great. PvP is not. I personally think PvP needs to get away from shooting and or firing something at people. Like, again, Fall Guys was PvP, and you don't really shoot or fire somebody, but you play Mario Party minigames. I haven't really even talked about my time in Fall Guys, the over 300 hours. I think it's still my most played Steam game to this day. Again, you don't have to fire somebody at people. You just play minigames. That game went up the river a little too, but you know what I mean. But that, again, a phenomenal example of not having to fire something at somebody and PvP working really well. So again, my number one reason, PvP, get away from firing things at people. Let's do some other gameplay genres. I really wish that Rhythm Battle Royale, the one with the gooses, real geese, took off. Like the one with the head bobbing geese. I really wish that
one.
Yeah, I remember that.
I know Silver was into that one too. I really wish that one took off because that was a good gameplay genre. I'm like, okay, you're not firing somebody at someone, but you're still competing against somebody. Good work. Maybe one day we'll reach a bright sunlight road of PvP taking off without shooting, but that's my number one qualm.
Personally speaking, I would like to see like an actual fighting game like in a battle royale. Like, I mean, I know we got Rumbleverse, but I wanted something like Street Fighter or Tekken. It doesn't have to be those series, but just the idea, the concept. But
Yeah, I would like to see that.
because I would at least get into that. So Redbeard, what do you think has made the most successful live service game stand out from the others, and it's contributed to their success and staying power?
I'm gonna say like it's a lot of stuff from between PvP and PvE, and most of the things ideally for me that stands out to me is just PvE because you just don't. Me as an introvert, I don't interact with people. I don't like dealing with people, so I'm just like, I just like to do this shit on my own, to fucking handle this shit out, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for Genshin and shit, but for example, Genshin has multiplayer where you interact with people, and that did not work.
All right.
I just do the shit all myself. And same thing for Hawkeye and ZZZ. Well, they have friend support and all that, which is fine and dandy. I mostly do this shit on your own.
Yeah.
You don't interact with other people just to do shit. Most of the thing, if it comes to multiplayer and PvE, that is fine. It's either helping out people, like for example, like Destiny raids. Even though they have PvP, but Destiny raids and PvE, there's sort of communication with all the raids going on, including on hard mode. There's just so much communication.
Yep.
Mostly mobile games I have played there's only I would say only one I have played that is multiplayer. That has multiplayer and PvE, and that was Mobius. And they had like certain weekly multiplayer not events, but it's like weekly things going on where you beat this boss in multiplayer and get the items you need, and you get the store.
Yeah.
Repeat the process. Yeah, that was sort of fun because I put so much time in that game to where I made my own healer, and I had the right cards for me for a healer, so you can actually fast forward all that game. It's hard to come to healer because a lot of people don't come with the heals; they always come with the attackers and stuff. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna come with the heals, and you can make an AI in your party to do like to be a healer, attacker, tank, or a breaker. And I made my AI healer because I had the cards in me, and it worked.
Yep. Let's see. So, next one is from Shad. Out of the many live service games that have shut down, which one hurt you the most? Knockout City for me.
Yeah, I would probably say the same thing too. And I will also say that Knockout City is also one of my favorites. I forgot to mention in the other question. But Knockout City is honestly one of my favorite games to play with you guys and even alone as well. And it really does suck that it shut down years ago, and I wish it would have just kept on going for people to play easily. Is not just to play like offline and or private servers, but seeing that seeing how that game shut down just really it just irks me to just see that when there's going to be more games shutting down or just not getting supported anymore, but yet there'll be some games that I like and they will keep on going in certain cases. And yeah, like Silver mentioned about Ninjala, it surprises me that game Ninjala kept going forever and ever, and it keeps getting more seasons and even freaking anime episodes of all things that kept going on with, and just wild that it is going on. And I mean, I would have.
Yeah, it's. I
Yeah.
like Ninjala.
It still goes on.
Oh my god, Ninjala.
It's weird.
So you want an example of a game that if you were to force yourself to play it to think that you might have fun and it turns out you're not gonna have fun, then Jala's that game for me. I tried. I could not get into it. I tried.
Playing it. That's
Fall
why-
Guys is that game for me nowadays
that's
after it
why-
changed, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't play it. That's why I didn't play it. I never played it. I never touched it. Freaking was tell me who play this. I was like, you get that shit on my face.
Yeah. And
I mean, like that, yeah. I mean, but I wanted to love Ninjala. Like everything about Ninjala was so good and it's so perfect. But just having the paper rock scissor mechanic as your way of winning just doesn't dwell with me because really, it is just a game of chance and just hope for the best to win at it and to play against people that will outsmart you and trying to like get the better of you by just you know hoping for the best to get lucky to win and it's just frustrated me to no end and yet I try to go back to it pretty much like whenever I feel like it i I mean I would say I had fun but I mean it just doesn't really feel good to play sometimes. I just hate to say that because it's a game that feels like it could have gone better. And look, it did get better. It really did. But just it just doesn't get better for me, for the other guys, and I was sad to see that Silver didn't get to play as much because I know he was so looking forward to it, especially with he was in a group with other people that were playing Ninjala and trying to make it as a community thing and it's only on Switch, which I would say maybe that hurt it a little bit. But even then, it still goes on anyway. I wish it would have gone on to other systems, maybe on PC at least. You know, I'll be fine if it was just on Switch and PC. But yeah, even then, I don't know, like because even then, I it's doing fine on its own for what it is, and it surprises me that it just lives on for so long. But yeah, but yeah, but mostly it is Knockout City for me personally, and but yeah, I want to say there is another game that just recently shut down as of last night that I looked into my phone about it, and it was something that I was really not sure when it was going to happen, but it just didn't surprise me at all. And the thing is, I never even played this game. Weirdly enough, it is a game that is from Japan, and I couldn't be able to get to play it on my phone. But I know there is a way to play it on your phone. It's just that you have
Yes,
to go
there
through
is.
to yeah, like you got to get you have to find your way to get through it. But it is a Japan only game.
There's yeah,
Ah.
it's a specific app you download it and you get to access to all the games from Japan. That's how I played
Mhm.
Tales of the Rays.
yeah.
Yeah, well, but this game particularly I'm talking about is a game from Marvel. It's called Senran Kagura, and it's a game that they made a mobile game called Senran Kagura New Link, and it is essentially like just basically um, not exactly the same as you play like the new the mainline games on the console. It's pretty much like you pick a team of your characters and you go into battle with enemies and even with other characters too, and you try to get the best out of them. And there are microtransactions into it. Of course, it's a mobile game, and you get costumes, and there's even collabs of other series of animes and other games as well that they bring into, and it is cool to see that this series got that much um, love into it, but it is still the saddest thing to see for me because the series Senran Kagura hasn't been getting much attention as of late because after what happened with the fallout with Sony's change of headquarters and the policy that would wanting to cater mostly to the to the American market than to just to the Japanese market, where they decide to just say, "Okay, guys, we're gonna have to change the way of what we think is best for our company. We're gonna not do much of Japanese games, but we're gonna cater much to the audience in America. So, no, we're gonna slow down on Japanese games, and we're also gonna censor." some games that we think America doesn't like with characters with boobs and stuff. So because they wanted to be very careful about it. So and that is a whole lot of a lot of story about that type of issue, which I'm not going to get into. But the thing is that it definitely did. It sort of did kill out Senor Kagura, and even the creator of the series had a issue with Sony, and he couldn't be able to keep up with it, especially after they stopped with with how the series goes into the PlayStation, and then they just decided to just make spin-offs for on the Switch, and then after that, they did not do any more mainline games ever since. They were going to make a new game after Peach Be Splash, but yet sadly it didn't come through. We had only just a teaser trailer of what's to come, and it was going to be another serious game that they were going to do to possibly finish off the storyline that they were going to do, but yet it didn't come out because the creator just didn't get to
Was fed up with Sony.
Yeah.
Was fed up with Sony pretty much mostly because they just kill off his motivation on wanting to do his games, because Sony was trying to cater to the American market and then to Japanese, and it really sucks to see. And I mean, I can't blame Sony, but at the same time, I am just fed up with that whole deciding thing, because you think this is gonna be easy for it to just go off, because I'm pretty sure that the Japanese games back in the PlayStation helped out the PlayStation when it was in dire need of having sales, if I remember correctly. And I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I know for a fact that there were some Japanese games that helped out with the Sony the Sony consoles, and even on the PS Vita, the Japan JRPG games were helping out with the Vita to stay up longer.
Yeah.
And so it feels like they're throwing Japanese developers under the bus of what they were going for, and even freaking killing off Japan's studio in the long run. And it sucks. It really sucks to see, and I'm fed up with Sony for doing that. And just seeing that the Senua Kagura New Link mobile game closing out, which they said they are going to make an offline version, only for two people to just have fun with the characters and do whatever. But yet it just makes me feel like this could be, and I hate to say it, it could be the end of the franchise as we know it, unless somebody out there is going to help out, unless the creator is going to find a way to get around this situation. But I haven't heard much about it ever since, so I don't know what's he going to do now with all of this happening. So
Namco Bandai could do something. I think Namco Bandai would be your best bet of reviving that series. They see all the series they revived quickly off topic. See all the series they brought back in that new Nintendo Direct, especially Everybody's Golf. Namco Bandai kind of base can maybe help out, but that's just a dream.
That it would be an interesting idea to see, because it surprised me that with them getting us Patapon and Everyone's Golf, it's just honestly a weirdly out of way thing to see that they could do to help out with these franchises that never got any new entries. And honestly, I would be shocked, and I mean very shocked, that they managed to somehow bring in Gravity Rush into the Nintendo Switch. Oh my god. I would just give up on seeing on what they can do, because really I don't know what else can they do, because really it is just it is mind-boggling. But that's just besides the point. I would like to see that, but for this game, the mobile game, shutting it down like this, it pains me to see how it goes out like this, because they could end the franchise if they don't do anything about it. But I just want to have my hopes up that maybe some way somehow they would get the franchise back. But we always still have our fans supporting the series always, because we always love for what we always gone through, and we just don't want to see it die. But who knows at this point? But 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 Knockout City, I would say mostly it is the game that I say it is the one I miss the most for it being shut down. and I don't know. I really wish someday if it was possible to bring it back in some form of just having easy access for people to play it online other than just the private servers. But I know we had to figure out how to get it together for us to play, but in
Yeah.
due time. But yeah, Knockout Cities for me.
Yep. What about you, Redbeard? What's the game that you feel like hurt you the most when it got shut down?
Can I say more than one? Because there was a bunch of games that it just hurt me a lot. I would have to say it's probably about with going around two. Final Fantasy Breaker Keeper and Mobius Final Fantasy. Because they were my shit. I put too many hours in that game and I love it. Honorable mentions are Tales of Hysteria, Tales of the Rays, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Nah, I can't. Not really, because I kind of knew it was going to happen because I just read the newsletter. The money was really getting bad, so I kind of knew it was going to happen. So it did hurt me a break because they had these Gears of It on there, so I was kind of upset.
Yep.
Okay, I have to mention some other games I never played, but I remember reading about it. It was like a Star Ocean gotcha game that was out in the US, but they shut it down, and I was sad because I never got to play. And also a Vacuum Profile gotcha game as well was also one I missed too.
Yep.
And I was like, damn. So that's it on me.
Okay, Matt.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this question extremely seriously. How strictly do you want me to slice the logic of shutdown? Do you want like game that's technically still alive that I don't want to really look at ever again, or do you mean like full company like announcement that they shut down? Like how strictly do you want me to slice the line?
That the game actually got shut down.
Okay, then that pretty much only leaves two because Texas is still alive and all that, and Fall Guys is still alive and all that. That would just be Friday the 13th and Knockout City. As everyone always said, yeah, Knockout City, phenomenal game. Again, cool concept. Dodgeball itself is just an inertly fun game. Oh, again, I hope some way either they can make a Knockout City 2, even if it's another company, just make a Knockout City 2. Because if you were to make another dodgeball PvP game like that, Knockout City got it so right. How could you make another dodgeball game that has the same concept but innovate even more, or not copy like the ball mechanics, like the cage ball or the moon ball, this and that? Like they got it so right. It's like at this point you would have to just take the entire IP and just make a second game, because you can't make like a clone or a copy of the game because they got the different ball power so right. It's like, damn. But Knockout City, as you can clearly see by my tone of voice, and Friday the 13th. Now, Friday the 13th was painful to an extent, but I saw it coming in 2019, and it officially shut down in 2024. But it's long dead since. But you know, but I mean, I saw it coming in 2019. I still got 212 hours out of it. But it was painful, don't get me wrong, because I really believed in the game, and I think there's an alternate universe out there where it would have overtaken Dead by Daylight for king of slasher killer asymmetrical multiplayer game. I know there's an alternate universe out there. I would like to see it. It doesn't fully pain me that I don't see that alternate universe, but it's painful nonetheless. So those are pretty much my 2 inches for official games that officially shut down. As much as I would like to say Texas and Fall Guys, they haven't officially shut down. So yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right, so the next one is this one's from H-Bomb and Friends. Why is Epic evil? By that I mean Epic Games. And okay.
I don't know. I'm bored.
No, but
I'm bored. I might as well just shut down some other companies and get into a lawsuit with Apple, because I just think this is stupid that they shut down our Fortnite game. So fuck it.
Well,
fuck Apple.
I mean, the thing is, let's be real. All companies are evil in their own way. Some are just a lot worse about it than others. And Epic Games is definitely up there as one of the worst in regards to how evil they are. So Epic Games, here's the thing. Between trying to make their own platform to compete with Steam, between like buying all these companies out and going out of their way to either shut down some of their projects or exploiting them in ways that they don't need to be exploited. Case in point, Rocket League and Fall Guys. And to an extent with Harmonix. But here's the thing. Epic Games, they want the most amount of control in this industry, more than any company, even more than Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony combined. So, yeah. They're pretty evil.
I mean, yeah, like for Epic Games themselves, they are one of the okay, like here's the thing. I personally don't have too much beef other than with Fall Guys, because I don't know about them with Rocket League, because Rocket League is still going on, and yet I don't know if I would say they did it worse with them, because I haven't played Rocket League in such a long time to see if they did any better. But I did play when they make seasons and made the game free to play, and it still plays the same way of how it played before. And so I don't know if I would say that game got worse, but it certainly did feel just the same. But yet, but the whole thing with the Epic Game Store, that is a whole other beast. Where I still remember the day when they announced that Epic Game Store made their own store, with Hades being part of the, part of the exclusiveness into their store, and everyone complained to death about how if they wanted to become a new launcher next to Steam, they would need to step up their games, and they tried. I will say they tried, but at this point right now, it seems like they already gave up. They just leave the store as it is. They haven't done much anything new with just saying how they could just make the store any better, other than just handing out free games from time to time.
Yeah.
And sure, hey man, I mean, who doesn't love free games? I mean, come on, everyone does love their free games, right? But even then, the free games ain't gonna cut it. Where if it's just gonna be exclusive to with Epic Game Store, and knowing that Steam, being Steam, the biggest PC platform ever, and they wanted to make their own store because they thought the cuts for getting the money was unfair. And look at them now with their own store, thinking that this is better for them to put out there. It's pretty telling that they just want more money. And honestly, I think that's a bit too much to say of what they want from Steam. And so they just want to just get more money. And especially since, Fortnite is a big game, a big platform for them to get money from, because everyone's going to buy the skins, the music, and all that stuff. It's going to keep making the money even more when they keep going with it. And I don't know if I mean, it is justified to say that they can be evil, but yet I don't know if I would say they are the most outright evil. While we have Activision and EA right now with what they're doing right now with their shit, with how they run with the games, because
Yeah.
I think they did it. I think they did it the worst than Epic Game Store in some fashion.
Yeah.
Because like Pete said, companies, they are evil.
Some are just
But
better,
remember,
worse at it.
Yeah, but remember, companies are not your friends.
They're
They're
not.
not gonna be. They're not gonna be there for you all the time. They can say they are, but they just want your money.
They're not your friends, but they don't necessarily need to be your enemies.
True.
But yeah. So for context, Redbeard, the question that was asked was, why is Epic evil? But we're not talking about EpicMan. We're talking about Epic Games.
I kind of see why, because all they care about is money. And even with like Fortnite, what they did is just the Valve has the Fortnite crew shit. It's all about and most of the majority of Fall Guys, where like all that Fall Guys and try to fuck. So yeah, like that's not a seat. That's not a seat to myself. It's just every time I get on Fortnite, it's just you need coins for this, coins for that. You need do all this shit, and it's just like, well, if you get the battle pass, you can get some more EXP, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with money.
Yep. Because it's basically Epic Games in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Matt?
I'm going to be 100% honest, to sort of springboard off of 98 Derek's point. I'm going to be honest, EA has caused me more pain than Epic Game Store will, to be honest. That's another story revolving my favorite Western RPG series like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, who dwindled after their first and second game, respectively, back in 2009 and 10, but that's another story. But yeah, EA has caused me more pain than any other storefront can probably really ever cause me, video game-wise. But to be back on topic, Epic Games, I don't know. I think in a weird sort of out-of-pocket way, I think the hate towards Epic Games Store is a little over flagrant. I don't love them to death, and I think Steam Storefront is better, but I don't 100% necessarily have a problem with them. Sometimes keeping games away from Steam is a little bit of a bummer. Like, I want to play 33 Immortals, but I don't want to invest the time to play it on Epic Games Store when I know it'll probably come to Steam eventually. That's the one thing they really do that thorns in my side. But I mean, yeah, because I really want to play 33 Immortals, but it's an Epic Store exclusive at the moment. Infinity Nikki is going to quickly come to Steam, which again is a free-to-play game anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But Infinity Nikki will come to Steam also. I don't know. This is such a weird example because normally you would want competition between like companies and or storefronts. We see it all the time. Like, oh, if only this company could have some competition or this, that, they'd get their act together. Steam is a company that or Valve in general is a kind of company that doesn't actually really need it. They're kind of good morale-wise. They have a good storefront. They're fair in pricing. They don't do this. They help with the refund in a 2-hour period. They even give, when the game really gets screwed over, they give refunds outside the 2-hour period, like Cyberpunk. I know there's a couple of other examples off the top of my head, but they give refunds for games that go defunct and or scams, like automatically, no questions asked, no matter how many hours you have in it. It's like, for an example, like I'm surprised Sony couldn't refund Gilligan his copy of Midnight Murder Club, even though he literally just bought it and didn't even turn it on. I'm actually very shocked about that. Like, that's an example of something that needs to be changed. But, and again, back to Epic versus like Steam, it's like, it's interesting because Steam is a decent morale company. They don't actually really need the competition per se. They seem to be Boy Scouts at the moment. Human beings are bound to change, and human morality and business morality is only so vulnerable. So we'll see. Yeah. There could be a day where something happens, but we'll see. But like I said, it's interesting that Steam doesn't need the competition, and Epic tries to give them competition in a weird, grungy sort of way. But ultimately, I don't hate Epic. I just don't use them much. I literally never really spent a dime on the store or bought a game that's exclusive to them. I literally just say, hey, I'll sign in for the free game. I'll play Infinity Nikki on there and Fortnite. I turned Fortnite on once after 7 years to get a dub with Hatsune Miku. But I play 2 free-to-play games on there, and I just sign in just for the free games. So I haven't spent a dime. I spent more money in Infinity Nikki than I have in all of Epic Game Storefront. So again, I understand the hate. It just doesn't personally affect me much.
Yep. All right. So next one is from Dari Gamer. What can make a live service game fun and worth playing, even though there's so much negativity toward them in their practice? Again, like I said earlier, you gotta do something different to make it stand out. You have to find something that everybody could enjoy. Don't make a carbon copy of a game that's already existing. And if you do, at least have more than enough elements to the game that at least makes it different from the game that you're copying. That's my answer.
If you want to go next, go ahead. I mean, be rude.
No, I was gonna say like you would I would say I agree with you, Peter, about standing out and do something different. But I would say that if you want to make a game fun, um, for whatever, depending on what game it is, yeah, like just. I mean, it's easy to say, but hard to do. Just make it fun, you know. Make the game fun for what it is. Give the players what they want in terms of for like, you know, what the game should have in terms of for balancing, um, and balancing game mechanics and just making sure everything is fair for people. Don't make it unfair for so long, and try to get rid of cheaters that are embedded with the game itself. Don't make a half-ass anti-cheat that would not give the cheaters a run for their money to get out and ban them forever. And just make sure the system itself is good in order to ban cheaters outright, no matter what. But even then, you know, that can also be flawed as well, because you can make machines can make mistakes too, like us. So it could happen in a wrong way, but we can try to make the good things out of it. So, but yeah, like just try to make the game more fun by just giving what the players want, making sure everything's good, and just, you know, just make sure you listen to them. Like I said before, with communication. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Again, splitting down the PvP versus PvE. What would make a free to play game like fun and enjoyable? That was like sort of the question. Having, if it's PvE or something you need to sign in for, having easy dailies. Like, I can't stress enough, Infinity Nikki is so easy on dailies. I don't have any FOMO or anything if I don't sign in for a day. Or I actually enjoy logging into the game and doing dailies. I've heard of Mihoyo game players, mostly kind of on the Genshin side, drudging, like, oh, I have to sign in and do my dailies. I know I need the stuff, or this and that, or the primo gems, or this and that. That's not Vespi, by the way. I'm not imitating him. It's more other people I've also heard too. But I've also heard him sort of say the same. I digress. But Infinity Nikki's dailies are so easy. I get them done in like 7 minutes, and again, here's how my workday goes in Infinity Nikki, because I haven't really done the story much until I make YouTube content about it. I log in, I see the dailies. The dailies are also incredibly easy because there's this one field area where you either have to kill a bunch of enemies, craft an outfit, upgrade a certain outfit piece, or there's a bunch of dailies that can pop up in the list of 5. And there's an easy way. There's a place on the map where you can walk down, fight a bunch of enemies, collect a bunch of plants, do this and that. And it's in a very homogenized area. I figured this out from the metagame that if I just log in and stay in this area for every day for the past like 50 real life days, I can just get dailies done here, and they're so easy. I haven't continued the story yet, but I will. Like, doing dailies in Infinity Nikki is just so easy, and I log into the game like, oh, the game's so beautiful. Look at Nikki, she's so beautiful, and the game is so relaxing. And again, because it's like Breath of the Wild, you're out on a field, and the field looks really fucking good. The sunset and the foliage and everything. It's like, damn. But anyway, you log into that game, it looks beautiful. I do the dailies, they're easy. I'm done. Yeah, and it's like, dang. Looking at Nikki, and I can't stress enough. Looking at Nikki and her cute outfits and her really cool outfits never get old. They really nail the design of dressing up this one girl really well. I can't stress enough, and in a not creepy way. I can't stress enough. It's just really easy on the eyes. It's good eye candy. That's the way I would really phrase it. It's really good eye candy. I mean that in a positive way. So yeah, having in PvE, just having really good dailies would make me stay around. I have stayed around. That's why I sort of dropped off of Pokemon Go and Farm Heroes, and well, Tales of Link I know wasn't bound for this world, but again, so why I sort of just dropped. I was like, so the dailies don't really just wet my whistle. And again, it's more of a me way. I said in the beginning, I don't gel with free to play games super duper much. So Infinity Nikki is a standout example. But yeah, it's like oh yeah, the dailies are like, oh, they don't really, it's whatever, man. So again, having really good dailies makes me stick around.
Okay. Redbeard?
That's good.
That's very mad with daily stuff, but there's certain other things as well. Like sometimes with the gacha games, it's always a bit of little grindy stuff, and you have to get materials and stuff, and there's certain materials you need.
Yeah.
Like they will have map. Well, in Genshin, they will have markers where the materials are where you can get them. Some of them a bit tedious as shit to where you have to find them, and there's only a limit you can find because you have to level up your character. I mean, you like to ascend your character to higher levels of shit, and if you find all of it, you have to wait like 3 days for it to all to come back, and that's just a pain in the ass. Even I would say fishing as well. Like you can get some free weapons from doing the fishing, but you have to wait like after you do number of grinding on the fishing, you have to wait 3 days to like for your specific fish to come back for the materials you need, and it fucking sucks. It's just the grinding needs to be easy, needs to be like easy, a little bit easy, not just tedious.
Yep.
Sorry. Make the grinding fun, not just fucking dull.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Honestly. So
And
no,
also,
go.
and also, as well as one more thing as well and also they should like. I think ZZZ and Hot Conservo does it better for the energy deal to
Yep.
use on you know, for like to level up materials and all that, and certain materials quests and all that.
Yeah.
Gishin, on the hand, is the one has a lot more. The refresh time for the Risen is higher than on ZZZ and Hawk. That's the one where it's like you could have just shortened out a bit to make it easier. I remember like in the Record Keeper I played, where the stamina will like come back up like quickly because it only takes like 5 minutes to restore one stamina. And
Yeah.
after I'm done, I'll just turn off. I'll just like get off the game and just wait till the next day because I'm mostly be doing the dailies and the grindings for stuff.
Yep.
That's about it.
All right. I'll say this though, that Titus pretty much asked a similar question about like what makes a live service game the best in your opinion. So like in terms of like what makes it more enjoyable, it's basically the same thing as what Daria asked. So I'm just gonna lump that in there too. So we're gonna go to Destiny's question. Do you feel that live service games, not only with games but also as a practice, is on borrowed time? And for clarification, he meant by that as a whole. Yes and no. Yes, because of the fact that we don't know like how long these games will actually last. No, because of the fact that like there will still be plenty of live service games that will still stick around. It's just not everything will stick around. That's it. That's my answer.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing too. Like for what you said, because it is not going to stick around for long. But I'm sure that once the bubble has burst and people are going to go to other genres, it's still going to be around. Just maybe not the amount that we were dwelling with so much with other live service games, but it probably will go down sooner or later because there's just so many that companies are probably not going to keep it up because there have been so many shutdowns of games because there's too many of them, and they think in their head saying, yeah, can we even keep up with this? I don't know if we can keep up with the services and just keep paying for these people and then like this, because they keep thinking that they gonna trying to sort it out with how many things they can keep up, and they just gonna cut it off because they think is not too not too deemable of staying up for long. So I think that it's gonna dwell out sooner or later. Just in due time, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Redbeard?
I'd say the same thing as well. Just if you started like a new service game that actually just came out, it's all right to like take a break from it for a couple of days because there's a lot of new content. It's like it's just started and it started. It's gonna be slow. It's not gonna get like content soon. Battle system might be might be simple. It's gonna be about a few months later to new characters and stuff.
Yep.
It's just gonna be the same. Just hopefully all of this.
Yep.
Like you can like jump into another game if you jump into another game as well. It's the kind of repeat cycle of like what game you want to play, of which we want to play to comfortably and like take off your time of another game. And next you come back, see what stuff they did. You just come into it like, oh, this is freaking nice. So yeah, it's the same answer as y'all.
Yep. Matt?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's like I'm personally more on the side of no, they'll never go away. I think again, I can't stress enough. I think PvP maybe, but again, MiHoYo on the PvE side has made such an ingrained stance that I think it'll last. I think PvE free to play will pretty much last forever at this point. If MiHoYo eventually leaves this mortal coil and can't make any more games, something will take over. Again, I can't stress enough, the anime girl ingredient and a good je ne sais quoi creative mind can make that work. It sort of falls in line with VTubing, because VTubing took a huge rise in 2020, especially with the English released Hololive company. I say this because that's also a question I get in the streaming sphere. Do you think VTubers will ever fully die off or not be a genre anymore? I'm like, no, it has fully made so much numbers that I don't think it will. It is now a genre to stay, both VTubing and now PvE anime girl free to play. It is now here to stay. They made the numbers to prove so.
Yep.
Yeah,
So there we go.
and it's pretty much just a sustainable way of streaming, because it's just another form of content creation.
It is.
Really, it's not a fad right now. It is part of what we do when we stream. Like, it is here to stay for sure, because it's just because if people don't want to show their faces, then make their own avatar. Just make them do whatever they want to make their own avatar persona to put it on their live streams instead of just putting their webcams, if that's how they want to go for. That's how it is, and Hololive pretty much made it into a big thing, and now it has become a part of life for us to enjoy.
Yep. So the last question comes from Professor Icepick. How do you feel about people demanding offline versions of live service games? For example, and he uses Mega Man X Dive offline as an example, because that was an online free to play like live service Mega Man X game with like multiple Mega Man characters from other series, and the online version shut down like I want to say 2 years ago, but then they made an offline version which you buy it and then like you pretty much have the content already. So in the case of online only versions of these live service games, they should at least have the option to still let you play online with your friends. I know, like we mentioned Knockout City a bunch, but here's the thing. With Knockout City, you're going to need to set up a dedicated server, but this is only for the PC version. Console, you're pretty much shit out of luck. So it depends on the game, but I do want to bring up two examples. One that should have it and one that now has it. So ironically enough, there are two mobile games, and both of them are from Nintendo. One of them is Dragalia Lost. So that's a game that was an RPG where they teamed up with Cygames, and that got shut down 2 years ago. And there's no offline version. People want to at least like be able to experience the game offline. Apparently, Cygames wanted to shut it down. I don't know what happened with that. And the other game, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. So why am I bringing that one up? Because when that game came out, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on mobile was basically like a free-to-play live service game where it has gacha in the form of fortune cookies, where you open a fortune cookie, you get a random item. It could be any type of furniture. It could be any type of like clothing and whatnot. Basically, that's what it was. That's what it all boiled down to. So you pretty much get like any item you want regarding that game. And eventually, like a few months ago, the online version of it shut down, and now Nintendo released like an offline version of it in which you pay a flat fee, but once you buy it, then like you can pretty much get any content you want. You do not have to pay any money for gacha whatsoever. So
Actually, but it's that you also can transfer your stuff over
yes,
from your stuff from your game to offline to the online deal to the offline. So you got
yeah. I have this feeling that there's gonna be another Nintendo mobile game that might have that same fate, and that will be Mario Kart Tour, because
nope. No, that's gonna be offline. It's gonna be offline.
yeah, because like you'll be able to transfer everything over. Fire Emblem Heroes is not going anywhere, by the way. Fire Emblem Heroes is not going anywhere.
No, that game's going that game's going dead. It's not. They said it's not gonna fuck with. So they're gonna shut that. They're not gonna.
Yeah, but
Sure.
but it's a case by case basis. There's some games that should have an offline version. So I would be okay with live service games having offline versions if there's going to be stuff for you to do, rather than like you playing with bots. So that's my answer. You guys feel free to say whatever you want to say.
I mean, yeah, I always hope for an offline version, like, sure. Now, if a dev says they really can't do it due to manpower, work power, this and that, I understand. I'm not gonna pound them on the head for it, but it would be nice if they did. Again, as someone who doesn't know the inner workings of free to play and or free to play development, if they can't do it, I understand. I'm not gonna be an over grouch about it, that's for sure. But again, as someone who doesn't play a lot of free to play, I understand, of course, wanting a free to play offline version. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. So it's like, again, but yeah, I always hope for an offline version. Again, I own Mega Man X Dive. I remember it went on sale for like an extremely low, like $5. It was sometime during November. It wasn't Black Friday because it was more during Black Friday. I don't know. I remember Wario64 telling me it was like $5 at one point. I'm like, okay, well, I'll snatch that up. That's sure. That's content in the future. That's funny. But offline version, it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, why not? But hopefully it happens.
All right.
I think it also depends on the gameplay genre. Some gameplay genres, I think, well, again, offline version would always be cool, but I think some genres don't really super duper support it well. Like PvP and or some other stuff. Like Mario Kart Tour, I think would make a good offline version. I do want to experience that sort of Mario Kart one day. I just don't want to have to pay $40 for Diddy Kong. I know, overused joke, but I do want to sort of experience that game one day as a Mario Kart fan. So if they made an offline version for it, I would bite.
Yes,
I would bite.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, Epic?
Yeah, like in terms of how Matt say about how the games that would be better off as an offline game, I just hope that whatever they do with an offline game could sustain itself for the content and whatever, I guess, single player wise of stuff you would do offline or whatever, that would be good. Like it would have to have like it would have to play the way how you play online, but in an offline way. Not like they would have to cookie cut some things that only worked online and they can't play it offline. You know, because like I don't know if they could even put in everything. Like I guess you know, like would they even keep everything with like collabs and stuff, or stuff that like with the events that happen over time? Because the one thing that I would say that did it well, that is actually going to do well right now with this game that Pete mentioned earlier, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Yeah.
That game is going to be offline. However, the game and its gameplay style is that it is going to be on a loop for each day on the calendar, and there's going to be events that will replay each time it happens. And that is what I think is the better way of doing offline, is that it would loop around events that would make it feel like um, something happens in the game, and it would repeat itself on certain days because it happened before.
Yeah.
So I wonder if even other games can even do that, if they ever had events or whatever that they did for the game itself. Will they even keep it? Will they not? Or will they cut out some features that worked in the game, but yet they probably can't keep it because it can only work online? So I just think that I want to see offline games work very well for in terms of how it can work as good as it is online and then play offline.
Yeah.
Because if they cut out so much that only works online, then it doesn't feel like it would be worth playing it offline if it doesn't work the same way how you would play online. That's, I would say, my fear for what it is. But even then, I would honestly want games to go play offline just so that people can enjoy it regardless. But but I just hope that it would be good to play offline.
Yes.
So that's just how I want to say.
All right. Redbeard?
I would say it's 50-50 depending on what games they are. There's some, like, if it was a game that was really good and just, if they could just, like, focus on maybe just the story and the certain features, that would be fine.
All right.
There are some games that we want to be offline mode, but it's too complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for I want an offline mode just to do all the extra content and stuff, and they were releasing a lot of content.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I know one game came offline. A Kingdom Hearts mobile game came offline.
Oh, that did. Yes, it did.
Yeah, so it's kind of 50-50. It's like, yeah, but some games turn to mobile games turn to offline, and because it's just too complicated stuff. So it's kind of 50-50 how it will. That's
Yeah. Wasn't that like so, quick question about that game. Wasn't that like a game that was integral to the story of Kingdom Hearts?
yes, it was.
Well,
Yep.
Unfortunately,
It was mostly like it's a prequel of Kingdom Hearts.
they're gonna
They just want to make a prequel for everything nowadays.
Square. Why do you always have to make every single like part of Kingdom Hearts integral to the story? Not everything has to.
No, but I think that whatever they do right now, they probably are too deep into the stuff where they put everything part of the story. And I mean, they could have say it's its own thing. You don't have to, but I would imagine maybe I don't know that Nomura wanted this game to maybe be entangled with it. Maybe not all of it, but it would probably take some things of it, just maybe not all of it, because maybe he knew that it couldn't be provided for everyone to play because it's a mobile game and not everyone's going to dwell with it if they want to get into the lore of the series. And
Yeah.
it is just going to be too much for people to handle because, I mean, come on, who is going to be in the mobile game just to say, oh, we got to know this because it's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts has all the lores. We got to know everything.
Yep.
Just no.
But yeah, like, so let's see, anything else real quick. Yeah, that's basically it. So that's all the questions from the community. So that means that's gonna do it for the show. EpicMan, RedBeard, Matt, thank you guys for being a part of this as always. I appreciate you guys as always for being a part of the show.
No problem, dude. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, like so that's gonna do it. But before we sign off, EpicMan, where can we find you?
So, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've been wanting. I'm gonna be coming back to streaming sooner, like very soon. I'm just getting things together. I'm trying to change up my layouts and stuff. So you can catch me streaming on my Twitch channel called twitch.tv/TheEpicManWorld. You can also follow me on Blue Sky. Name being just The Epic Man World. That will be my handle over there. And I guess I would say this for Twitter, but we're not gonna go into Twitter right now.
Yeah, fuck Twitter.
But yeah, I guess I would say just Blue Sky right now because I don't have much other social stuff I would say I would want you to follow right now.
Yep.
Just Blue Sky. Follow me on Twitch, and I'll surely announce when I'm gonna be live again because I am gonna be putting that together sooner. And so yeah, that's how you guys gonna reach me.
All right. Redbeard, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch at MrRedBeard. You can also find me on Blue Sky as well. I am not on Twitter anymore, so I don't care.
Yep.
And again, I am on hiatus right now, so I'm coming back to streaming sometime late 2025 or early.
All right. Looking forward to when you come back, dude. Matt, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me pretty much number one at twitch.tv/MattBigFat. There's me. Again, I still keep up live streaming the best I can. My job's a little busy at the moment for a good reason, a good livelihood reason. But I'll be streaming a lot this spring, especially with the upcoming Switch 2. That's pretty cool. The other place you can find me, I use Blue Sky. Okay, it's not like a super big deal, but the other place you can find me are pretty much. Is this the correct shout out from me? No, hold on one second. I can solve this. Is it this one? No. Gosh darn it. Of course I would fumble this bag. You can find me at MattBigFat Plus at YouTube. That's where a lot of my short form stream content clips, including a video recently about a live service game, Midnight Murder Club. I made a funny video about that one recently. Go check that out. And you can check out the other YouTube. You can check out the other MattBigFat main channel. It's a little dormant at the moment, but it's where I'm gonna post big, long form edited. That's where I really hone my funny editing skills, which I'm really trying to hone. That it's a little dormant at the moment, but that channel will be revived or get more life into it at the end of 2025. So listen out for those two channels. The first one is great short form content. I can't stress enough. People really like my React views, and I like reacting to videos too. That's the home of Matt Reacts.
Yep.
So there we go.
All right. And of course, you can find me pretty much anywhere within the stratosphere except for Twitter, because fuck Twitter. But I'm mainly on Blue Sky and Discord more than anything these days. So you can find me pretty much there. And also you can find me on here where I stream Monday to Thursdays with the occasional Sunday and Friday streams. And also on YouTube, like I have two channels for YouTube. I have my main channel and as well as my VOD channel right here, because I'm still moving all of my older VODs to my VOD channel because I still have until April 19th to do so because Twitch changed their policy. So thanks, Twitch. Anyway, so the next episode will be taking place on Sunday, April 6th, where we're going to be talking about Power Rangers. And I'm still finalizing the whole guest list for that one, but we're going to be talking about Power Rangers for that. I love Power Rangers, so that's going to be happening on Sunday, April 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I hope you and your guests have a blast.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so with that in mind, that's going to do it for sharing with Shellshock. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Be awesome. Stay awesome. Tell your loved ones you love them. Check up on them as always. May you all fight for everlasting peace. And I will see you guys in the next episode. And everybody, EpicMan, RedBeard, Matt, thank you once again. And
Thank you.
And to everybody coming in, y'all have a good night, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching Sharing with Shellshock Season 4. Your name will be inscribed in the pages of podcast history.